Hello, people, and happy Friday and weekend, depending on what time zone you're in. So, hello, Lamer, Wells. Who else do we got in here? Homic Beast, I think, was in here. Yeah, you have not used Windows for the last 2 years. You know what? I've been using Windows and Linux for the better part of almost 3 decades now. But I will say Windows had its problems back in the day, but the last 2 releases just fucking works, man. 10 and 11. I'm going to make a video about this, but I did notice something when I was reading people having bad experience with Windows. Oh, that's fine, Lamer. That's fine. Have a safe trip home, man. So I noticed something. A lot of people that have problems with Windows, especially the updates and stuff like that, use all of those anti-telemetry, anti-data collection scripts and stuff like that. And I'm just like, are they doing more harm than good? You know, are they going in and meddling around with things in the back end that on the surface seems to be okay to disable, but really they actually go in and harm the system? So I made a video about that nerds actually break your Windows experience. My old arts PC, hey Joseph, by the way, my old arts PC is suspended until further notice. Okay, it has not behaved, I guess. It is put in the corner. It's got a timeout. I will no longer be running arts. That's awesome. And approaching ice storm worse than the last one is the cause. Cannot update arts with frequent outage. Oh, so you have... you guys are getting an ice storm now. We are here in Europe, like at least the part that I'm in, and the western part of Europe is also getting into a mild storm. So right now it's actually like really windy and rainy outside. My laptop will need to switch from Endeavour OS to a Debian and Ubuntu-based distro soon. I am really digging Kubuntu lately. I showed Lamer a screenshot that I made of my Kubuntu install. And I fucking love Kubuntu, man. Like, if you're a KDE guy, girl, alien, robot, whatever you want to call yourself nowadays, Kubuntu is amazing, man. Second winter storm in as many weeks. Yeah, the storm seems to be more and more frequent these days. So I'm actually going to make a script in a bit here where it basically adds the backport and update KDE to the latest rolling release of the desktop. Because when I use the backports to get the latest release of KDE on Kubuntu, basically turning it into KDE Neon, has always worked really well for me. Been lucky so far, but not taking any chances at all. No more rolling distros. Yeah, that's that. What about Arts? Arts. I'm so fucking stupid. Manjaro seems to not update that frequent anymore. I get maybe one update a week. Maybe more, depending on the software that you have. How much software you have installed. But with like a basic install like I have here with, you know, just the necessary things installed, Arts update like once or twice for me every week. They have really stopped this aggressive rolling releasing. Again, if you're using the AUR a lot, that is something another talk. Hey Bruce, how are you, man? Are you giving the middle finger to Windows lately? Maybe we should read some of the comments on my videos, the last 2 videos later today. Man, I have a laugh about some people. Wow, I really had a good laugh. My old PC can handle Mate with 6 GB going to 8 GB. Oh my god, is it taking up that much? Wow. 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 That's quite a lot, man. That's really quite a lot. So let's open up Do I still have everything in here that I need? Oh, yeah. So I need to make a new folder called Kubuntu. Because this is only a Kubuntu thing. And I will just... can I not make a new file in here? Going to get my laptop on Kubuntu 2204. Old PC will be running MX Linux when it comes back, if at all this year. I can already tell where this is going. Oh, you're going away from, like you said, from rolling releases. Where is my Virtual Studio Code? Oh, it got updated. So I want to make a new one. That's too much shit going on there. Here, let's use this one here. Oh, that's not what I want. There you go. And let's save this as, and let's save it in Kubuntu. And let's call it KD Backboards. Install SH. There you go. Well, it's 5 o'clock now, so I started a little bit early. Hey, Esnik. No, but I'm giving the power company the middle finger when the power went out last night. Oh, a transformer blew up. Fucking hell, man. You should not I should not have to try to keep us updated when there are constant storms and threats of loss of service. Yeah, that's... You need a better infrastructure, man. Electrical infrastructure. You really do. Like here in Europe, you rarely get outage because of storms and stuff like that. Well, I didn't start early. I had the music running for like 15 minutes. Hey, Analytic Mind. So I will not call that start early. Adding Kubuntu backports. Okay, so what are we doing here? Let's just do that. Let's do some copy pasty. Let's do some more copy pasty. Copy pasta. That's actually a whole Reddit wiki page. That's actually the origin of the Slenderman murders, where the young girls were reading copy pasta and tried to kill their best friend because they thought that it will help them see Slenderman. Yeah, that's really fun. Last year's blackouts as a result of a bad winter storm is why I'm taking drastic measures. Yeah, you should always be prepared, Joseph. I actually really like that. Yeah, same to you, Analytic Mind. I hope you're having a great one also. The announcement said 9 a.m. my time. I did not want to miss your love Windows 11. I love Windows 11. I actually really don't have a problem with Windows 11. I don't even know what... let's see, can I... Can I see what the world time is? So you were like, oh, did I set it to? I set it to 5 p.m. right? So it must be like 8 where you are right now, or you're like 1 hour away from Denver or something like that. Maybe I should add your time zone here. That's Denver. I need Phoenix. All cities. Oh shit. Abidjan. I don't know why I added that one. Oh, 7 o'clock your time. Phoenix, USA. Let's add that city. I'm just adding your city to my watch so I can see what time it is where you are. Apparently, I also added Abidjan. I have Sydney here also. Yeah, I got a new watch. Okay, you don't do daylight saving time. That's right. That's right. I tried Kubuntu 21.10 in a live session, and print scanning apps locked up the system. Kubuntu does not seem to have that issue. I always love Kubuntu. It's at 11 a.m. my time to start. Yeah, but the Plasma 5.24, Joseph, is a LTS release. As they say here, it's where the fuck did I read it? That it's here. Today's KDE community releases Plasma 5.25, a long-term support release that will receive updates and bug fix, blah blah blah. This new Plasma release focuses on smoothing out wrinkles and evolving the design and improving the overall feel and usability of the environment. So you can't really... that's what they do with their LTS releases, just like Ubuntu do. It's kind of just like, let's make this really stable, really great, quality of life fixes and stuff like that. And the other releases gets new features and stuff like that. So yeah, you can't really expect much from LTS release with the KDE. Arizona does not do... I read that one. I envy you. I hate fucking the daylight saving times also. I really do. We do daylight saving time. In fact, we are getting ready to change again. Yeah, in a month, I think. A little over a month. We are going to change it here also. In Denmark. I think it's like in the last part of March. Oh, sorry. February. Yeah, January, February. May. There it is. I can't fucking remember my month anymore. I'm getting old, dude. I'm getting old. Well, what did you say it was in Phoenix? Because my watch say it's like 9:06 in Phoenix right now. A tad windy here in the UK. Yeah, Europe was having a storm. Well, so I'm sorry I didn't see that. Yeah, 9. Okay, got it. Okay. So it is. It is clearing. It's correct. Awesome. Yeah, Europe is having a little bit of a storm going on. Yeah. That's what my watch is saying. I got this second-hand watch here. This here. It's the first gen smartwatch from Samsung. It's actually really fucking good. It really The battery life, 3 days thereabouts. But for what I got it for... Let's take all of these fucking advertisements away. And thinking about that, it came out in... 2018, I think it was. It's holding up quite well, and it's military tested. It has the... it's certified for 10... what is it called? Grade 10? So it can withstand a drop from... I don't know how high it is. It's quite high. And it can operate in temperatures like minus 20 or 30 degrees to plus 60 or 70 degrees centigrades. And it's scratch resistant. It's basically an outdoor watch disguised as a Samsung watch. It is a Samsung Galaxy watch. I'm actually really happy with it. It don't have the same fitness tracking capabilities as my old watch has, because that was a fitness tracker. But I'm starting to warm up to this whole smartwatch thing. Before I was a fitness watch guy. I want a watch that could really track my fitness, you know, my heart rate, my blood oxygen, my exertions, my you know, when I was active. And then the smart function was, I just needed to see my notifications, that's it. But here I can control my phone and all kind of crazy shit with this fucking watch here. I'm actually really digging it, because I was looking into get the Amaze. What is it called? Where is it? T-Rex, there you go. I was thinking about getting this, because this has like also military grade resistance. And this is like, oh, what is it? This is the pro version, so it's like 230 bucks in Denmark. You guys can probably get it for under 200 bucks because you don't have sale tax and all of that shit. And the watch that I got here, I got that for helping out a friend. So the Samsung watch that I have here, I got for helping my friends a couple of hours, 2-3 hours. So I didn't have to pay for it. I could. He was like, "Hey, do you want to get paid?" I didn't want any money, because I don't like getting money from my friends if I help them out. And he was like, "Well, I'm selling this smartwatch for the, you know, what he would have paid me, because he don't need it anymore. So I could just get that if I want." And I was like, "Yeah, let me see what it's all about." But yeah, I've been looking into this here. But then I researched this watch here when I came home, and they kind of have the same grading. They have the same military grading. So yeah, because I do a lot of physical work outside and inside in shops and stuff like that. So I need things that can handle to be, you know, shock resistant, and that's part of that military grading, is the shock resistance that these watches here can endure or withstand. So they can, you know, of course you can't take a knife to the glass and stuff like that, but like you can ding it and dang it and slam it on the table and hit it with a hammer almost, and they won't really care that much. So yeah, I just nerded out about watches. So what are you guys saying here? I've not tried Wayland on 5. I've not tried of 5.24. Joseph, I've not tried Wayland either. Yeah, Arizona gets hot as fucking balls in the summer times, man. Yeah, Analytic Mind, we're kind of the same here. I think we reached 40 degrees one time, Celsius. I hope Kubuntu 22.4 will include Wayland. I needed to adjust my external display refresh rate to 60 Hz. Oh, really? Ah. I want to buy myself an old pocket watch. I used to have one, but it died. I like pocket watches. I really do. Like, there is something... There's something majestic. Or, like, it's hard to explain. There's something about a pocket watch. You know, there's something prestigeness or... Like, I always think about, you know, an old English guy with a top hat and a fucking cigar in his face and, you know, in those black suit. And then he, like, you know, slam out a pocket watch and tell, you know, the lady what the clock is, and then he goes in to have his brandy. I don't think I could live with a pocket watch. I would break it. But yeah, they fucking look amazing. You can actually get a pocket smartwatch also. My AC runs all... Hey, Nosy. My pocket watch is an Android. Yeah, my pocket watch is also an Android. And then my Samsung, the first generations of their smartwatches are using a OS called Tizen, and that's what this is running. It's kind of like a... I think it's based on Unix. What is or Linux? What is Tizen Samsung? Here, this is the OS my watch and my watch and some of their televisions and stuff like that run this OS also, and it is a Linux-based mobile operating systems backed by the Linux Foundation, mainly developed and used by Samsung Electronics. It actually works really fucking well, man. But now they are using Google's Wear OS, which is a fucking battery hog. It has a lot more features, and you get access to... Oh, this is the new Samsung watch. And you get access to the Google App Store and stuff like that. But it's really not that well done. Tizen just work way better in my opinion. And also from what I've seen with the battery life and stuff like that. Google actually wanted Samsung for their Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 to go with Wear OS, because they want to improve the battery life. So they're working with Samsung to help get basically the same battery life as they have with Tizen, which is also a Linux-based mobile operating system, just like Wear OS is. But we don't have Google Assistant on Tizen though, that's the problem. I need to fire up Ubuntu 22.04 Alpha in VirtualBox and see if I could get Wayland on. Hey, do that, man. I remember in the year 2015-16, Samsung phones were released with Tizen OS instead of Android. Only a couple of models. Yeah, and they're using that on their first, not the first, actually up to generation 3, I think it is, of their smartwatches. I think it's only Galaxy Watch 4 and up that are using Wear OS now. And I actually like Tizen. You don't get the same app ability as you do with Wear OS, of course, and what is it called? iOS for Apple Watches, but you get enough. Oh, are you on limited memory? We need to upgrade the updating the system. Also, we need to do something here because I kind of want to pretty this up a little bit. So here we are clearing out the screen. Oh, I have a microphone in front of the fucking keyboard. Yeah, they're using Wear OS now, Nosy. going to update this system. And then we are running this command. Oh. Boink. I'm making a script that adds Kubuntu backports to Kubuntu. Because I'm running Kubuntu quite a lot right now. And I'm running it with the backports added so I get Plasma 5.24. And I forgot how well Kubuntu runs. Like, Kubuntu is a fucking amazing system. I'm actually thinking about installing it on my physical hardware. My physical Ubuntu SSD has not been booted into in over a year. And Kubuntu make me kind of want to do that now. Like, it really, really makes me want to do that. Let's clear the screen again. Oh, that's definitely not... there you go, clear. That's the command that I need. And copy. Let's do that. Good idea to reboot. No, this is Pop OS with a lot of extensions to it. I'm running Pop OS with a lot of GNOME extensions. Because that's where I have all my script. I started my script collection on Pop OS and I haven't updated my server with them yet. Oh, there's already updates. I just updated it. What the fuck? Oh. Steam devices, operating system updates. Oh my god. I updated before I started to stream. Well, we need to update the system in a jiff. But I'm debating, like... I am really debating on running Manjaro, to be honest, because it fucking just works. This should all be good now, I guess. I think the host it's already Plasma Wayland comes shipped with Kubuntu. Awesome. I think that is host system. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. What Kubuntu team needs good marketing team. Yeah. Yeah, so I want to update my system and then I want to reboot. Heck, let's boot into Kubuntu when I have updated my system here. I made a script just to make it more easy. No, I fucked this up. Because Kubuntu, sorry, not Kubuntu, Debian. Debian is making a lot of fucking crazy decisions lately. There are people leaving Debian fucking left, right, and center because of the management and the how Debian, the Debian collective, or what the fuck you will call it, cares more about social justice and diversity and all of those kind of things than actually making good software. So they pushing a lot of people away because they don't have the right political views or don't agree with everything that the main guys in Debian agree with on a political and sociological level. And I think that is massively flawed. when I read about that, I was like, I can't with Debian anymore. And you're taking away a lot of software for philosophical reasons and political reasons, and for not because the software is bad, but because they don't agree with something the developers are doing or something like that. In their spare time. And I have it like that. You need to separate your developers from your software. The software is not a fault of what the fucking developers are doing. It's not buffering here. I haven't had any dropped frames. Nosy. It would be nice if Kubuntu 2204 would use Falcon. Yeah, you said that. Yeah, ever since I installed DevOS on this desktop PC, I've been updating every couple of days. It's a little annoying with Manjaro. It was every couple of weeks. Yeah, that's the same that I have noticed. Analytic Mind. That's the same I've noticed with she's not missing a leg. It's just cut off by being its plaque. It's the shadowing that makes it looks like she's missing a leg. Let's boot into Kubuntu. Base Debian. Where's Ubuntu? There you go. Now I'm getting. I did open it up, yeah. So we need this one here. Oh, I may need to reboot it. So I themed this a little bit. I could also run OpenSUSE. A lot of people want to see more OpenSUSE videos. I need to run it some. Maybe I should run that as my main system. But yeah, this is what I've been messing around with Kubuntu. I installed Chrome. Let's move that to the trash can. So, let's see. KDE 5.24 Debian. Oh, can I remember? Let's see if is this the guy? Yeah, I think this is the guy. He moved from Debian to Arch. He's like the main supporter or developer for packaging Kubuntu or KDE for for Debian, and he's talking about a lot of drama going on in the Debian field, and he's not the only one I've heard this from by reading articles and stuff like that. Debian is starting to become really problematic. Just like the Free Software Foundation and stuff like that, that they don't care about the software anymore. They don't care about making great systems. They only care about the political aspect of it. How they can look, you know, more holy than anyone else. So he's migrating, or have migrated all to Arch Linux now. And I think he will start to maintain a lot of packages for Arch Linux. But he's been doing this for... how many years? He got demoted. Can I see? Yeah, almost 20 years in Debian. He basically got demoted because he didn't agree with something they said that the Debian heads were saying. Bob, what are you saying? Lol. And it's really tough to maintain Chromium. Chromium is the most aggressive update cycle I've ever seen. Really? I already have Falcon installed, but it does not have a dark theme extension. How is the drama with Debian affecting Peppermint? Well, it could affect them in a way that the derivatives now have to maintain those packages. Like, there are people in there that can take over the mantle, but this dude here, he was kinda the guy that did all the heavy work. So either the community needs to step up in Debian now, which he is not that hopeful for. Or then, let's say, Ubuntu, Kubuntu, or those kind of people need to step it up for Debian. Or they could just say, fuck it, we just maintain it for our own distribution. So Q4OS is just maintaining their own repository with Plasma and stuff like that. And this is what drives me up the wall. I'm going to rant a little bit with this fucking politic and this. It's Richard Stallman's fault because he pushed everything to be political. So political nutcases are gravitating towards him. And then they are infecting our fucking development projects, our software with their political agendas. Because that's the only thing they care about. So the focus is now starting to become more and more political instead of just, let's make fucking great software. Of course, be nice human beings and let's not fucking, piss people off and be, idiots and assholes. But they spend hours, and I've seen this so many software projects lately. They spend hours and days debating politics and inclusion, exclusion, social justice and shit like that. That they should have been coding, in my humble opinion. Yes, if there's someone being an asshole in the project, kick them fucking out. But it's taking more time. They're spending more time now debating politics and free software and all of that fucking shit, how it's impacting the world, which it's not at all, instead of just making software. So we are not getting the software that we need and we want. So people are starting to not want to use the software because the software is not good anymore. Because they spend too much time debating about political fucking ideas. Like, I can't understand why they cannot see that being a problem. That if you're a software company or software project, people come for your software. Yeah, Snapd just had a massive security issue. So a lot of distributions are upgrading Snapd. I don't know if MX Linux is caught up in that drama. I don't know if MX Linux is on the inside of Debian or not. I don't know. I don't know who is involved in it. I've just seen a lot of people getting more and more frustrated with open source projects because the influence of the GNU people is spilled over with the political aspect of it so much that people are getting fed up. There's a quote, I need to find it, but it's in one of his like 8+ hours live streams where N Commander, that has been a trusted developer for Debian, and I think he's been in the Ubuntu main team or something like that for a couple of years. Like he invented the streaming platform, not this platform, but the service that made you stream on the software that allowed you to stream as bufferless as possible on the Beam, which is our old streaming service that then became Mixer, and now it's Facebook Gaming or Live or what the fuck it's called. He's done a lot of fucking things with the Free Software Foundation and Richard Stallman. He's been engaged with Richard Stallman and the GNU people, and he say GNU is 95% politics and drama and 5% getting things done. And it's pushing people away from their software. He don't recommend open source and GNU products and Linux to anyone anymore because of that. And I have to agree with him. Just look at my latest videos. Like, there are people out there that can't get their head around that Linux is not political. They want everything to be political, and that's because Richard Stallman makes everything political. Richard Stallman thinks there's fucking tracking chips in your name tag that you get from companies at conventions. Like, he's a fucking nutcase, man. Granted, he's a brilliant developer, but come on, man. Anything that don't have anything to do with coding, he should just stay away from. He should be locked in a cage with a terminal in front of him so he can code all day. Human interaction. Get him the fuck out of here. On top of that, he's apparently done some shady shit towards women. MX Linux is the best Debian-based distro out there. I need to say, it needs to stay good. I personally don't like MX Linux. I don't think it's the best Debian-based distribution out there. But that's just my view on MX Linux. For me, MX Linux is a tool. I would use MX Linux if I was an IT professional, and I did a lot of repair and I did a lot of IT work, because there's a lot of great tools with MX Linux, and MX Linux on a USB stick is amazing. As a daily driver, I would go with almost any other Sparky Linux, for example. Let's see, what do we have on DistroWatch of Linux-based distributions? There are plenty of distributions I rather would go with than Q4OS. Sorry, as you mentioned, was another one. Debian, if you don't like systemd, would want that. Again, I will go with Ubuntu-based distributions just for the hardware compatibility instead of Debian-based. Yeah, MX Linux for me is a tool. It's something you have on a USB drive to help you mend and fix and troubleshoot systems. That's how I look at MX Linux. Granted, a lot of people use it as their main driver, and hey, if they want that, they can do that. Oh, they just had an update. Nice. I've seen the channel explaining computers. Yeah, he knows what the fuck he's talking about, explaining computers. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. Do a review of three flavors of MX Linux. Was not impressed, to be honest. I never tried it. Here's the thing. Soviet Light is not doing anything any other XFCE based distribution is not doing. Linux, fuck it. Ethnic OS has a smaller footprint than Soviet Light for old hardware. If you want to run old hardware, go with a Debian-based system, because they don't use by default a lot of resources. And Ethnic OS is by default Debian, stable with XFCE, and it's faster, slimmer than Soviet. Soviet has so much bloat in it, man. Not to mention they are running the Ubuntu kernel, and the Ubuntu kernel is a little bit more heavy than the Debian kernel because of their own patches and stuff like that. It does run more efficient in some aspects, like with the database searches and stuff like that, but it is a little bit more resource hungry. There and then and back. There and back again. So, in NVINC, I think he means, for Arch Linux. Oh, he made it a packet for the AUR, NVINC. Awesome. Yeah, so, this dude here, that's a massively amazing good packager, is now starting to do AUR packages, it looks like. So if you're an arts guy, girl, alien, robot, penetrating idiot, or something like that, you could expect a lot of great work from this dude here. But yeah, Soviet, man. Not impressed at all. Not impressed at all. I need to do something like this here. KDE for Ethnic OS. So, why I noticed this, how I stumbled across this guy here, this article here, was because I wanted to make a KDE. I wanted to respin Ethnic OS into make a KDE version for you guys, and then either upload it myself or ask Ethnic if he wanted to seed it for me. You know, basically just make a community edition of Ethnic OS. But then I saw what this guy was talking about, and all the other articles I read about Debian and stuff like that. I was just like, I don't want to deal with that fucking shit. I really don't. I just don't want to deal with that fucking shit. Ubuntu is kinda getting in there to some extent also with this politics fucking thing, but that's only in the forums, not the official, not in an official way like Debian is doing. But yeah, the future for Linux. Let me put it another way: the future for the open source projects in Linux, not the Linux kernel, like the future for projects like GNOME and stuff like that, is not looking that good, man. Port Plasma 5.22. Like, if you want a really, 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 really stable KDE experience, you run with the KDE version that Debian comes with in Debian Stable. Because the KDE version in Debian Stable has been tested. Like, fucking, like, it's been abused, used in all kind of crazy ways that you can imagine. It's by far, if you want the most stable and problem-free experience with KDE, you just want Debian Stable with the KDE desktop environment that they provide. The same with Leap for OpenSUSE. The Leap version of KDE on Leap is the most stable KDE I have ever run. Don't look so much at the version numbers, because Debian, one thing that Debian do well is that they fucking test well. They don't release anything until it's almost can almost withstand a nuclear fucking attack. And the same with the OpenSUSE Leap distribution. So yes, it may be outdated, but it's fucking stable. I have shown how easy it is to switch. Yeah, it's actually really easy. What is it? Taskle or something like that? Sudo Taskle or what the fuck it's called. It allows you to change desktop environment under Debian. Really, really easy. I assume the XFCE was more stable than KDE, but I don't know. KDE is less resource hungry than XFCE, because XFCE has a problem that's called GTK. GTK is some of the most unoptimized development libraries out there in the world, where KDE is using Qt that's optimized because it's made for mobile devices. Qt is made to run on mobile devices, so really resource limited devices that are really heavily depending on not taking up a lot of resources because of battery use. Where GTK is basically just taking all your memory and making sweet love to it until you get tired of it. On a technical level, KDE and Qt is leaps ahead of GNOME and GTK from a technical level. Linux just seems to have adopted GTK because Ubuntu is running GNOME, and Ubuntu has run GNOME from the beginning. They adopted GTK as their official standard for their Ubuntu distribution, and Ubuntu is the most used distribution in the world, so therefore it's kind of the standard nowadays. The unofficial standard, let me put it that way. Like, if everyone is using something, or if most people are using something, more and more people will use it. I don't know if GTK feels nicer. Yeah, I have no problem with Qt application. I like the look and feel of Qt. I think when I look at GTK, it looks childish to me. It's like the difference I have with how I look at GTK. So this is how GTK looks for me. It's Duplo. If you know what Duplo Lego is, it's like these big bricks from Lego that kids are making stuff out of. Because everything in GTK just looks big. It's big borders, big buttons, massive patterning around text and all of that fucking shit. They're using a shit ton, or they are abusing a shit ton of pixels on your screen, because they really wanted to use it as a touch device also. Where Qt and KDE that is built for touch devices and mobile devices. It's more akin of Technic Lego. It looks more sleek. It looks more defined. It looks more modern. It has a more modern feel to it. It has like this, Android, iOS feel to it, where everything is laid out in to some extent a more logical way and in a functional way than GNOME is doing with GTK. Like, I really I don't like the look and feel of GTK. I just prefer Qt better. Again, that's the taste thing, but when I compare GNOME with KDE, it's like Duplo versus Technic Lego. It's kind of like how I look at it. Because GNOME, you can't really do anything with GNOME until you script the living shit out of it with extensions. So you're really, really limited with KDE GNOME, or not KDE GNOME, with GNOME. Like just like with the Duplo Lego, you're really, really limited with what you can do. Where KDE, like, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it, and it has everything available at your fingertips. It's sleek, it's fast, it takes almost no fucking memory and resources to run if you really slim down KDE. The only thing that I hate about KDE is that a lot of times there's a lot of fucking bugs in KDE. They are not as good as the GNOME developers at fixing bugs, and that irritates the living shit out of me. Exactly, Joseph, and yeah, KDE has much better battery life than GNOME, Cinnamon, and Bocce, and that is because of the GTK applications or libraries that those environments are built up around. So they have built up environments around a technology that display the UI elements that is unoptimized for battery life, where Qt, by design, like, one of the design focuses of Qt is battery life, because it's made for mobile phones and interactive devices in cars and stuff like that. Mercedes use Qt as the interface for their cars and stuff like that. And GNOME wished they could do that, but GNOME wished they could do the same with GTK, but GTK is a fucking mammoth. It's massively bloated, and their documentation is fucking bad as fucking shit, unless you use Vala, their own programming language, and it's... Yeah, man, the KDE... Don't get me started on KDE, man. I could rage about KDE for fucking hours. And that's why, again, Bocce is moving over to ELM Enlightenment-based desktop now. Bocce is going to be based on Enlightenment now, because of all of those unoptimization. The GNOME developers are being fucking asshats because they think they are gods, because they made a successful fucking environment. And people just don't want to deal... Again, politics. People don't want to deal with fucking politics and arrogant assholes. Deep and LXQT and QFIS are also good options for this reason. Exactly, Joseph. And look, what are they based on? Qt. There's just that licensing problem with Qt. That's the fucking problem. That yes, you can make open source license and stuff like that, but you are kind of limited. And the open source version of Qt is a little bit behind the commercial version of Qt. And one day, the owner of Qt can say, hey, we don't want to support the open source version anymore. That's what happened during the first lockdowns. They didn't have the manpower to maintain the open source aspect of Qt. So they were thinking about stopping updating the open source versions of Qt. Hey, Tinker, I hope you're doing well, my friend. But then the KDE people were stepping in and saying, hey, we can help you guys out with the Qt open source aspect of it, if you allow us. And then they made a council and stuff like that to basically help out people. Duplo OS, yeah, Duplo OS. So yeah, they basically, with the help of KDE, we now have a backup, or we have a structure in place that if Qt stopped maintaining their open source version, we can still develop with Qt. But Qt has and I think that's why Ubuntu went with GTK, because of that license. There is still this overhanging fear that Qt drops the open source license for their slimmed down version of Qt, and that will affect everyone that uses Qt from an open source aspect. And that's why in 2019, under the first lockdown, or was it 2020, the KDE developers talked with the Qt developers and came to an agreement that if that happens, the KDE will take over maintaining the Qt libraries and stuff like that. But we don't know how well they can do that. And that is a little bit uncertainty. And we should not have that. And again, that's because the GPL is so fucking strict. I honestly believe that the GPL is hurting Linux more than it's helping it, because we can't play well with other people. And the fact is, people, the hard truth is, Linux need to work and function and play in a Windows, Mac, FreeBSD world. Linux can't force its will onto everyone else. We need to. It's just like when you go to work, you have to work with your co-workers. And Linux, it seems like Linux go to work, but it don't want to work with the co-workers. But it wants the co-workers to work with it. But it has to be on their terms. It's the Linux way, or you get the fuck out of here. That's not how you work together. In a society, in a political aspect, in a sociological aspect. And I think that's why a lot of people don't care about Linux. Especially third-party vendors. Because it takes so many resources to fucking run an open source or GPL project. It takes so many resources, manpowers, and what have you not, to make sure everything is kosher according to the fucking Richard Stallman and GPL idiot guys over on GNU. Because if they complain about one thing, your whole fucking project is scrapped. They're like they're kind of like the dictators of open source, like the GNU people. Any more info on possibility ads on the Plasma desktop in the future? So what I read about the ad thing was that it. And again, Joseph, you have to think about Qt is made for mobile devices, and mobile devices love to serve ads. So they have the ability to allow ads in the Qt libraries, as far as I read it. I could be wrong, but the way that I read it is that there are systems in place in Qt that can make it so the Plasma desktop, or the KDE developers can, if they want, enable ads on the desktop. They can even make it so, let's say, Ubuntu can enable ads on the desktop, but let's say Esnik don't do that for his KDE version, or other distributions. Let's say Arch don't do it for their KDE version. So it's per developer basis. It's not like every Plasma desktop in the world will now have ads in them. It's on a developer basis, and I think the feature's been in there for years. Heck, Ubuntu served ads with Unity, and that's a GTK-based environment. So there's been ad serving in Linux distribution for years. Linux Lite, don't they use Amazon links also? And the same with Sorian? Oh, no, it was Mint. Mint had something with ads also in their desktop at one point, or some of their apps, was a link to some. I think it's Firefox that they just did a partnership with, so they can earn money when people are using Firefox. But yeah, I don't think you should be afraid of Plasma starting to have ads all over the place. And if that happens, that may only be because, let's say, Debian does it, or Ubuntu does, or Kubuntu does it, or something like that. It's on a developer base, what you call it, choice. Just the features in there. That's how I read it anyway. And again, I don't have a problem with the options being there. Like, this is the thing. Options is never a bad thing. Even if you don't agree with some of the options that are being implemented. Because it may help some other people. It may make sense for other people, other projects. It may make sense to have ads in Plasma for, let's say, if you're running the Plasma desktop on a public like information screen out in a mall or something like that. So they may use it there. Oh, I also have... do I have Snap installed? Oh yeah, I just updated Snap, that's right. We need to reboot, by the way. So I never see options as being a bad thing. That's why I really, really laugh about Linux people when they say it's all about freedom and user control. So I always tell them, what if I choose to run Windows? Should you not allow me that? Is that not my freedom? If I want to run Windows? Or do you really want to take that freedom of choice away from me? That I can actually, that I have to run what you tell me to run? What if I want to run proprietary software? That's also something that Linux people really yell about. Am I not allowed to run proprietary software? I think the system demon is acting up. Let's reboot, restart it, hard restart it. If you want a operating system with the end user in mind, and you're not limiting the end user at all, you also have to allow them to make decisions that you don't agree with. It cannot be freedom if you're only running open source. It has to be freedom for everyone, not just us. Because then it's not freedom, then it's just dictated options, basically. And that's not freedom, that's just an illusion of freedom. I should be allowed to run, like, when people see I boot up, it's so funny, by the way. When people see I use Virtual Studio Code, they get so fucking angry. I'm like, why? Oh, it's Microsoft and it's proprietary. And I don't think Virtual Studio Code is proprietary, but Virtual Studio is. I'm like, I like it. It works for me. It's one of the most used development tools out there. It has like a fucking massive amount of plugins to it. For Python and everything you can dream of. Why would I not use it if I like it and it really runs well? Oh, you have to run fucking Emac or Vim or some other open source equivalent. It's like, why? Why? Is Linux not allowing me the freedom to choose what software I can run? Or is there a golden rule that we have to follow these like do's and don'ts? I've been really fucking debating the last couple of months of ditching Linux. I really have. I'm so fed up with the whole community. I love Linux, I hate the community. I really do. Like, not you guys, but, you know, the guys in comment sections and stuff like that. I actually did now we are talking about comments on YouTube. I did an experiment. I did a good old experiment. So, if we go on to YouTube, so you guys have something to look at here. So I did an experiment, and you guys are probably noticing it. I think it was around Christmas. I stopped, answer every comment, you know, like physically sit down and type in, you know, a response. Instead of just did a thumbs up and a heart and stuff like that. Just to see how it would impact my life. Like, Did I start to miss it? Did I start to like Linux more or hate Linux more? How did it affect my mood and all those kind of things? How it affected my day-to-day life? And I must say, when I'm not responding to comments, I'm reading them, but I'm just liking and hearting them. It's so much more trouble-free. It's so fucking amazing. I'm less stressed. I'm less angry. I'm more relaxed, of course. And I don't have to sit and think about a conversation I have with some random fucking guy I don't know on the internet because they think they know everything about nothing. Or something like that. Because people think that comments on YouTube is this great forum where we can have lengthy debates about the meaning of life. Like, when have that ever been a good idea to do that in a comment section? And in my latest videos, I started to, with the Windows videos, I started to mess around with some fanboys. And when I did that, I was going around and thinking about it all fucking day, and it fucking makes me miserable. What's wrong with the community? Do they care way too much about what software you use? Or some are toxic? Both. Linux people have gotten into this mindset. And again, I'm not saying every Linux user here. I'm just saying a really, really loud part of the Linux user community have gotten into this mindset that they have found the holy grail of computing and development. They are right, everyone else is wrong. It's a little bit like the whole computing world is under a dictatorship, being oppressed, by Microsoft, Windows, and all of that. And the Linux people are the freedom fighters. We are here to save everyone in the world. We are here to set you free. But there's a big but. You can only do this, you have to do that. We only allow you to do these kind of things, and if you're not doing these kind of things, we're not really talking to you, and we really don't like you, but we will not kick you out anyway. It's a bit like the social justice warriors are. They are basically Uber fanboys. And they are ruling Linux. Because when software developers are trying to support Linux, they jump like fucking a fat kid in a cake store on them. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you open source that aspect? Why didn't you do this? I'm like, hey, just be happy that you have a fucking Linux mentality. You know, a Linux version of that software. Just be happy that they want to support Linux. Yes, we can debate software licenses and all that shit later on. But right now, just be happy that someone wants to support Linux. But yeah, it's the 1% of the computing world that think they have to save everyone else. And if you don't believe that, they are looking at you as an enemy. They are yelling and screaming at you. And here's the fun part. Here's the fun part that really will get you laughing. Most of those people have no fucking IT experience whatsoever. They are not developers, they are not admins. The only thing they do with their computer and with IT is that they sit on their ass, just like me, looking at articles and YouTube videos, and think they know better than fucking IT professionals that have worked with IT for 20, 30, 50 years. The most hateful, arrogant, close-minded people I see in my comment sections is always from people that have had no work experience with IT at all. They think they know what's going on in IT, but they have never worked with IT. They never talked to someone that have worked with IT because they are afraid of being told that their worldview is wrong. I have it like this. I will listen to you, but I don't take your facts into an account if you are not an IT professional. or at least have a really, really long history with IT. So Esnik, I listen to Esnik because he's been using Linux for as long as I have, if not longer. He has over 20 years experience with Linux. So if some idiot that just got off his mom's tits is telling me how Linux is in a comment section, or Esnik is doing it, who do you think I'm listening to? I will be listening to Esnik, even though I may disagree with him. I listen to Esnik because he has built up the experience, the rapport that these crazy people have not. And that's why I say I love Linux, but I hate the community. If money was no object, I would switch to 100% to Mac. So Falk, I'm kind of the same, a little bit. I'm not, because I'm a gamer. I could not do it. But here's the thing: why don't you buy like second-hand Macs? Like, buy an old Mac system. The beautifulness with Mac and Mac OS is that you can run a 10-year-old Mac computer, and you will still get a really good experience. Like, a 10-year-old Mac runs almost as good as a 2-3-year-old Windows computer. That's what I have been debating of doing, because so here's my thought pattern at the moment. I like the Unix-like aspects of Linux. I don't like the hassle that comes with Linux. Both being the technical hassles and the over fanboyism and toxicity and complaining, and it's everyone else's fault and Linux' fault that we don't have nice things, and I don't like that mentality. Linux is just as fault for Linux not being what you want it to be as Adobe Photoshop is and stuff like that. That's a totally different debate we can go into. And I'm like, you can get really cheap, like 10-year-old Macs or 5-year-old Macs that runs really great if you run Mac OS on them. Like there are people, right? There are content creators and developers that are running 7-8-year-old Macs. And not to speak about the M1 has drastically reduced the price for a Mac nowadays. The only thing that are kind of holding me back is the expandability. Like peripheral expandability. And I'm a gamer. I game a lot. So it's I'm debating on buying like a second-hand MacBook Pro or Air or something like that, because I kind of want a laptop, but I'm like, I don't need a laptop because I don't have to code or anything like that. So why don't I just buy a tablet instead? And then I need like an Android tablet because my phone is Android. You know, I'm an Android portable device kind of guy. I just like the experience better. Not because it's based on Linux. I just like the Android experience better than the iOS experience. I stopped caring about what the people what some people call toxicity. I ignore it most of the time, and when I do choose to engage, it's only for amusement. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. But the thing is, if we don't talk about it, it just gets worse. I've seen, I will not mention any names here, but I've seen popular Linux developers on live streams where they sit and game have a rule say no Linux talk in the stream, because the second they start to talk Linux, people get toxic. And we are talking about people that have done so much for the Linux community that without them, Linux will not be what it is today. They refuse to talk Linux because it ended up being unknowledgeable people being toxic about it. Like I said, it's like Esnik going into Tinker and telling Tinker how to maintain his servers and his the development that he's doing right now. And Esnik has no idea what Tinker is doing, what the project is, or anything like that. The only thing Esnik knows is that it may have some proprietary component, or they may use some hardware that he don't like. So therefore, Estek is going and yelling Tinker in the face and telling him how the world really works in IT, and he should be doing this and that and that. Where Tinker is the guy that's actually in the fucking trenches doing the work. That's how the Linux community is. Or not, again, those idiots in the Linux community. They have no idea how the world works. They have no idea how the IT world works. They have no idea that there is actually something called we all have to work together. We all have to exist in the same place. And they are pushing developers away from Linux. They are pushing users away from Linux. They are making developers and companies not want to support Linux. And that's a fucking bad thing. That's a bad thing, man. Because I want Linux to have nice things. I want my peripherals to work as good under Linux as Windows. But I can't get that if you have idiots yelling at developers. Because they are using proprietary codec, or they are not doing open source development or open source hardware and stuff like that. Who gives a fuck? They made the fucking work. They coded the code. Let them use whatever the fuck they want. If you want an open source version, make it your fucking self. It really drives me up the wall, those kind of people. And it's not just a few people. I honestly think that it's a big part, if not 50% of the Linux community, they are like that, if not the majority nowadays. Because of fucking Richard Stallman. I really hate that guy. I love his tech, I love his coding, I love his software, but I hate the guy. Linux community is giving people freedom of choice when it comes to what software they want to use on their computers. They are not, Joseph. If you give people the community freedom of choice, that means that you should also have the freedom to choose what they don't agree with. So that means that the GPLs should allow people to have implemented proprietary code into their software. So developers don't have to break an arm and leg to code software for the Linux kernel, for example. I should be allowed to run whatever the fuck I want on Linux, proprietary, not proprietary. It should not matter at all to the Linux people if we're talking about freedom of choice. Freedom of choice also means that you have the choice to choose things that you don't agree with. Because when we are starting to go into, we have freedom of choice, but you have to follow these rules, you have to do these things, then it's not freedom, then it's a dictatorship to some extent. Or it's a political thinking, if that makes any more, if that makes more sense. Like you have it's kind of like a walled garden. You have all the freedom you want if you stay inside these walls. You can't leave, and you're not allowed to bring anything else from outside the garden into our little walled garden. That's what Linux is about. Or that's how Linux looks like, and that's what the GPL do to Linux. As long as you follow these rules, you do as we say, you don't step outside the lines, you can do whatever you want within these confines. I will say Linux to some extent is a more closely... So, okay, people have the power of choice. Why do Linux people yell at people for running Windows? That's a choice. I made the video, the one about EB proving my point about Linux. I'm a Windows shill now. Because I talked about not Linux. I talked about why some people would be running Windows. The power of choice means that you should be allowed to choose things that you don't agree with. So that means you should also be allowed to choose Windows. That's a fucking no-no in the Linux world. Yeah, and by the way, Falk, yeah, DJ Ware has a lot of experience. He's a guy that has been in the world for so many years, and he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like, power of choice means nothing. Again, another example. I give you 5 sodas. You can choose whatever soda you want within those 5 sodas. But There are hundreds of sodas in the world, but you can only choose the 5 that I have selected for you. Because they are made in the way I like them to be made. They are following a philosophy and political viewpoint that I like. So you have the freedom to choose those 5 sodas. But what about the other ones? What if you want number 99? Choosing an operating system is like choosing an electrical company. It's really not, because the operating system means less than the fucking electrical company. Here's the thing. Let's look at it in another way. Let's scrap this talk and look at it in another way. Nobody cares about what operating system Tinker, Falk, Timmy, is that your name? Pistrim, Timmy Pistrim or something like that. It actually, like, your last name reminds me, it's like a P stream in Danish a little bit, but nobody cares about what operating system you run, Joseph. The only one that cares about your operating system is you. And people that like this, like operating systems, they may care a little bit. Developers are not really that, they don't really care, because they just make software for the most popular system, or they make software for the system that they like. Nobody care. The amount of effort. This is how I look at the operating system war and the open source versus proprietary war. When all those fucking nerds are going crazy about what operating system other people are running because they're not running what they want, and that, oh my god, now they're using proprietary software, and they're going and yelling and screaming on social media and video comments. I can't stop thinking that while they're spending all that time and effort thinking about what other people are doing with their software license and stuff like that, people like me that don't give a fuck, like Esnik, we are meeting girls, we are getting laid, we are getting food, we are having a good time outside of the IT world or the hobbyist world of IT. We are experiencing the world, we are going to work and earn money. We are doing all of the fucking things that they wish they could do, but they are so fixated on something that means so little to the world that it really, 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 really makes me wonder what's going on in those cases. Because honestly, it fucking don't matter. Your operating system and the software license you use for your software, the only place that matters are for IT professionals and developers. You as an end user, not at all. It may infect you in a way that you have to maybe pay for your fucking software. But there are plenty of closed source free software out there that you can run. There are plenty of, or have been, not anymore, plenty of proprietary operating systems that cost no money that you could run. But until you are a developer that are actively contributing to the project or helping out in any way, what license this has no fucking impact in your life whatsoever. Or you're an IT guy that are working as a developer, system administrator, system deployment, name it, security expert, whatever you want to name it. If you're just an average guy like me that have a job, have friends, family, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever you have, it has no influence in your life if you're running Windows, Mac, FreeBSD, Hygo, open source, closed source, MIT, BSD. Nobody gives a fuck. Okay? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. How often do you stand in the grocery line and debating open source, closed source with your fellow guy or girl that are waiting to get their fucking groceries up on the cashier? You'll probably be talking more about the fucking human malware or something like that. The things that we are talking about with Linux, and the way that we look at Linux, and the way the community look at Linux, nobody cares. They really don't. It's fun to talk about. It's interesting. It's intellectual conversation we can have for fun. But in the end, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I can't stress this enough. Nobody cares. Okay? Nobody cares if you by the way run ads. If you think you're better than everyone else because you're running ads, or Gentoo, or Slackware, nobody fucking cares. It really don't. There's more to choice of an operating system than cost. There's also the privacy to consider. You cannot install a new Windows without being signed into a Microsoft account. It's a PC, not a phone. You can if you run with the professional editions. You don't need a Microsoft account. And also, nobody cares if you need a fucking account. You need a YouTube account. You need a Gmail account or an email account. You need an account for your iOS devices. You need an account for your Twitter. You need an account for your Instagram. You need an account for everything in the world. You need an account for everything in the world. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about privacy in that aspect. Another thing about privacy. You on fucking YouTube right now. YouTube is milking your fucking informations way more than Microsoft ever will and can do. The second you connect to the internet, you are being probed, analyzed, more than a fucking alien coming to Earth. We have lost that battle. I'm really sorry to say it, but we have lost that battle. Going from Windows to Linux from a privacy viewpoint, it's like having an infected leg that needs to be cut off and you're cutting your nails off. It don't matter at all. I'm sorry to say it, but it is what it is. In the 90s, when the internet came around, there were so many people, and Richard Stallman was one of them. I will credit him that. Richard Stallman was one of them that said, beware of your fucking privacy in the 90s. Nobody listened to all of the people talking about internet and privacy. Nowadays, we have lost. YouTube do have access to your hard drives, or at least the hard drive that your browser's installed on, via cookies. That's how a lot of hackers work nowadays. They use cookies to go into your hard drives. And also, what's on your hard drive that you don't put onto your mobile phone? What's in your hard drive that you don't back up to let's say an online backup? Like, the only thing I have on my hard drive that's not anywhere else in the world, well, they kinda are, but not my version of it, is games and software. My notes is sync, so I can, use note apps all over the world. And, all over on all my devices. My pictures is all over the place, so I can easily see all my pictures on all my devices. The only thing that I can't access anywhere in is my software. So that's a mute point also. Check the late. As far as I have seen and I've been told, the only version, the home edition, you need a Microsoft account. I don't know if they're taking that away. But the Pro version, you could run it without an account. 15-year-olds cares. Yeah, unknowledgeable people cares, isn't it? There was an interesting hearing with the law in the 90s. The video is on YouTube. Is soon YouTube. Yeah, like in the 90s, there was actually quite a lot of people having the foresight to see what this whole internet could end up being and warning everyone about it. But they didn't listen, and now we have lost that. Nothing to hide, nothing to fear is a logical fact. I have never said that, Cosmic. I never said nothing to hide, nothing to fear. I don't like that they have access to all of those things. I just know that I can't hide anything from them. Well, a lot of things I can't hide from them. There are things I can hide, but we are in a world right now where it's really, really hard to hide anything. I'm not saying that nothing to... I have things to hide. Like, if you looked at my computer 10 years ago, Yeah. Let me put it that way. The anti-privacy privacy people would go nuts. Because I had a lot of fucking movies and shit like that I should not be having. 10 plus years ago. And software. I'm not saying nothing to hide, nothing to fear. I'm just saying that we can't hide as good as we could before. And it's a lost cause. Because we have... The thing is with this whole internet thing is that they didn't went from taking nothing to taking everything. Each year they took a little bit more privacy away from us. So we didn't notice that we were getting, that the privacy aspect of our lives would be taken away. And now we are at a point where it's blatantly obvious to everyone that we don't have any privacy anymore, to be honest. Or we don't have much privacy anymore. That is blatantly obvious to the common folk to see that nowadays. But up till like 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was not that obvious. You may see that, oh my god, we are really going down a really slippery slope here. And you may have warned people, but they didn't care because, well, we got this convenient aspect. Or this makes my life easier. So people are willing to give off privacy for convenience. And now they have given up so much privacy for so little conveniency that they are starting to be like, oh, whoa. There's something wrong here. But now it's too late. When you give something to people like that and to the industry like that and to society like that, we can't get it back again. We can maybe get some back, but we can't get all back. We can't get all back. The video I meant is called Hackers Testifying in the United States. I think I have homework we want to hide. I back up my data to a NAS that is not connected to the internet. None of my personal data is on the internet. I've taken great care never to have presence on social media. Okay. Do you have a credit card? Do you have a social security card? Do you have a car? Are you using public transportation? Are you shopping? All of those things are tracking you, taking telemetry off you, are gathering data off you, and sending it to server farms around the world. Your privacy is not only being taken away on the internet, it's also being taken away in your real life. When I started to become a mechanic in 2000, that was when the first technology came into cars where we could actually see how fast you have driven your car, how long you've been driving without the right amount of oil. If you had a GPS system, we could also see where you have been. That's just a fucking car. Every time you use your credit card or any form of credit in your name, you are being tracked. Anytime you do anything in life that has some digital interaction, you are being tracked. I'm not going to make you go nuts here, but that's the truth. If Tinker goes down to the local sex shop to buy a board suit and an inflatable dildo with his credit card, that's being tracked. That information is being shared to some extent or another. The fun part is that when people are tracking down other people, so we're talking law enforcement and stuff like that, a lot of it is still money-based. It's still, social engineering versus the internet. Because it's so easy to track down people from how they live their life, what they are doing, who they interact with and stuff like that, compared to what they are doing online. If they have an online presence, it's way easier. Sorry. So yeah, Cosmic, I'm sorry to say it, man. If you have a mobile phone, you're being tracked, you're being analyzed, blah blah blah, your social security cards, your fucking bus card. Maybe your name is not being tracked, but your habits are being tracked with your bus card. That's telemetry. When you're shopping, your shopping habits are being tracked. Your bank track your expenditures, your income. Your bank is a fucking massively privacy concern, if you ask me. Banks are collecting so much like sensitive data, and they share it with each other, and probably also with other people we don't want them to share it with. And that's why I think it's really funny when people are so focused on Windows when they talk privacy. And when you go and take down their whole fucking privacy, their whole life. Like I said, it's like cutting a toenail if your leg needs to be cut off because of infections. Yes, you're doing something, but you are definitely not doing what you can do. And trust me, Cosmic, if people really wanted to, they can find you online also. Like I say, the fact that you are right now on here talking to me is a kind of good lead to figure out at least what you are doing online. And also the NAS system you have, is that your own built NAS system, or have you bought something from TrueNAS, QNAP, or whatever they are called? Because if people get physical access to your NAS, they now have access to all your data. You also have to think about physical security and privacy. Detractors will have loved to bug each and every household back in the day. Now people are willingly putting smart speakers in. Yeah, I have a Google Nest. You know, I have the Google smart home things in my house. I know it's listening to me right now. It's probably listened to all the porn videos I have watched and listened to the last year that I have had it. But it's so fucking convenient. I can just ask Google what time it is to you know, turn on and off the lights, to set the moods for my lights, you know. Give me information and facts while I'm taking a shower and listening to Justin Timberlake or Britney Spears. Convenience, man. Convenience. Just wait till 5G rolls out, then every electrical car will rad on. Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. Why people are so focused on Microsoft versus Windows. Tribalism. Go read up about tribalism. It's the same reason why we have Xbox fanboys, PlayStation fanboys, Apple fanboys, iOS fanboys, Samsung fanboys, Nokia fanboys. People make a choice, and then they don't want to be confronted with the choice that they make may not be good or right. So they go into a defensive system. And also, when they make that choice, they are now part of that community. So they defend the community by all costs. Because they feel part of that community, that's now their tribe. That's now, you know, they are part of that unit, that family, so to speak. The same with family. Family is a tribe. You know, you protect your brothers more than you protect the guy next door. But should you really protect your brothers and sisters more than the guy next door? What if your brothers and sisters are fucking crazy people, but you're part of that tribe? It's ingrained into us. And that's one benefit of having autism. You don't have those connections that easy and that well. You don't see those connections as valuable. So one thing that I wish more neurotypical people would have is that way of looking at society and the physical emotional connections that you make with making a choice. Autistic people, for the big part of the autistic spectrum, don't have that association. They don't look at that choice as being part of a tribe. So they can be a little bit more willing to listen to other people in other tribes, in quotes. You know, they don't value their brother more than they value, let's say, the guy next door. So they don't, the same way they don't value Samsung over Apple as much, because for them it's just a tool. You know, it's just it's an object. I'm not saying that it's that with people, but with unalienable objects. Is that the word I'm looking for? But a lot of people, they get emotional bound to Linux, Mac, whatever they are using, because it speaks to them. Linux may have a lot of great points and doing a lot of things that someone really agree with. So it's really easy for them to associate with that community and being invested in that community. And then when a fat idiot like me is like, hey, wait a minute. You do know that that's not 100% true, or that's not how the world works, or you may be a little bit blinded by your blind loyalty to what you're using. They don't see it as a let's have a conversation about it, or you may not have the facts right. No, I'm attacking them, their choice, their tribe, their family, and the emotional connection they have to those things. Because they are an Android user, or they are an iOS user, or they are a Linux user. And like I said, autistic people in a lot of cases don't have those same strong emotional connections to all those things. So therefore, it's a little bit easier to talk with people, autistic people, about those things. And they are also more inclined to change minds more often because of that. So when Cosmic is defensive right now, it's because of those things. It's a psychological reason for it. And I spent hours reading up about that fucking shit because I want to understand what makes fanboys. And then when you read up about it, it's tribalism. Esnik is liking Debian and Arch. That's a form of tribalism. He is emotional connected to those environments, to that community, to that to those joys. So when I'm criticizing Arch or Debian or Easy Arch or Esnik OS, to some extent, in his mind unconsciously, I'm also criticizing him. He then may say to be rational enough to say, oh, it is my operating system or my work that he's criticizing. But there's still this little thing in his head that I don't like this because they're talking about something that I made that I have an emotional connection to. Just like if someone calls your sister a B word or your brother another word, you will be more angry at them and willing to slap them in the face than if they told a totally stranger that you have never met and they said the exact same thing to them. You'll just be like, nah, I don't fucking care. But in reality, you should care just as much because it's just as bad, if you think about it. So yeah, there is a reason why people act like that. They are a prisoner of their own emotions. Their own, oh, what's this? Oh, that's my theming and stuff like that. And it's fascinating as hell. It's so fascinating to talk about and research, but damn. I wish more people would be aware of how unbiased they really are. What am I doing here? I'm about to do something here. Oh, yeah. I remember now. I need to take away the battery. I hate the battery thing here. There you go. Disable. I know more about you than you know from the way that you're conducting this information. Conversation, sorry. and the things that I talked about, why you are defensive, because you are defensive. You don't like that I'm not agreeing with you. So you're telling me that I'm wrong. Telling me that I'm wrong is you disagreeing with me. That's a defensive move. You're wrong, I'm right. Can either be an arrogant, self-righteous, or defensive move. And I don't see you as being arrogant or self-righteous. You just don't like what I'm saying, so therefore I'm wrong. If you were not defensive, you would be like, oh, let me look into this. Is there something about it? Let me research this tribal thing that he's talking about. Or am I really getting tracked more other places than on Windows and stuff like that? Hey, Jared, how are you, man? So you are being defensive. And you are being defensive. I'm not saying all of the things that I was talking about is why you are being defensive, but some of them will apply to you. Just like I will be defensive if you're criticizing my mother. I would, because she's my mom. You get what I'm saying? So of course I'm more defensive if you're criticizing her than if you were criticizing another old woman. I'm not perfect. I'm a human also. I have the same tribalism mechanics, if you can say it like that, or code built into me as you have. I may just be more aware of them. And I'm also autistic, so my emotional connections are really, really faulty. Like, I don't really emotionally connect with people in the same level, and therefore also don't get into emotional connection with objects and decisions and stuff like that. But I'm not saying that everything I just mentioned was because of that they apply to you, but I am sure that some of them do. Maybe one, maybe more. I don't know. Again, like, I don't know you. But the way that you're talking, the way that you're conducting this conversation is from a defensive standpoint. I've been working with customers most of my life, meaning I've had to listen to people that I needed money from for work or something like that. And trust me, you learn a lot about fucking human beings if they have to pay you. You see a lot of things between the lines. You learn to read what they are saying. The way that they are saying it, the way that they are typing it. Oh, you had a blackout. Where do you live, Jared? I can't remember it. I'm glad that you guys are back up to normal again. I'm glad. And again, being autistic, when people are typing something, I analyze a lot what people are typing, so I put more value in what you are saying in your written word, because I can't see your face expressions and stuff like that. And trust me, you are being defensive. You may not be massively defensive, but you are being defensive. Trinidad. Oh, I love Trinidad. Well, it was on Wednesday. 12 hours. Oh my fucking god. I honestly don't know if I could last 12 hours without in a blackout. Like, here are not a way that tribalism and stuff like that affect me. If I don't have internet for more than an hour, I get anxiety. Because most of my social network is on the internet. I feel I'm alone in the world. I don't have anyone to talk to. I get depressed and stuff like that. Because that's my tribe. You know, that's my people. That's the internet. They are on the internet. Yes, I could go up to my mom, but hey, I'm talking to you guys right now for almost 2 hours. I'm spending more time with you guys than my mom. So if I can't do this, you know, talk to you guys either on Discord or anything like that, that's kind of me being without my tribe, without my family and stuff like that. So yeah, I would not be able to last 12 hours without anything like that. I had a blackout for 36 hours. Oh my fuck. Yeah, you guys had that massive snowstorm, ice storm, what it was called in Texas, right? That's the one you're talking about. Where a lot of fucking people, it actually ruined their houses, man. It really, really ruined their houses. And another thing. How people type and act on the internet tells a lot about them as a person. I'm just saying. There are so many cues on how you are as a person. Because people don't hide when they're on the internet because they think they are anonymous. That's the word I'm looking for. So their true self comes out. When you go out and talk to people real life, you put a mask on. That mask is now a username, and then their true identity really comes out in a lot of instances. That's why there's a study. There's more than one study that have shown that the people that takes a lot of selfies has a higher grade of narcissism in them than anyone else in the world. Than people that don't do it. So if you take a lot of selfies, you are scoring really high on the narcissistic spectrum. So, yeah. And I had an exam the day after long with leaving with work early. It was from like 1:20 p.m. to... Oh. I kind of want to see Trinidad right now. Is that how you spell it? Yeah, fucking Tinker. Ever since like 12 o'clock, it's been raining and it's been, you know, almost storm. I think it's like almost wind is nearing the storm speeds. Let's go on to maps. I haven't used Google Maps in forever. Oh! Puerto Rico. Oh, it's down there. Ah. I'm sure this is fucking beautiful. Yeah, look at that. Oh. Wow. Man, there are so many beautiful places in the world. Wow. And then we have Estic that basically lives in the middle of a desert where there's nothing than fucking scorpions and spiders and heat. Look at all of this stuff here, Estic. You need to move, man. We need to go to the coast a little bit here. Let's go down here. Look at this fucking shit, man. Wow. What's the weather in Trinidad? He ate so many beans. I have not had any food yet today. The last time I ate was like 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. yesterday. I haven't eaten yet. I've done intermittent fasting my whole life before it was popular, because I only eat once or twice a day. But I got home from work late today, and I had to set this live stream up, and I had to do some other work. 31 degree. Oh, I'm moving. But I couldn't last 12 hours. You guys need better infrastructures, man. Oh, that's perfect for me, man. I will love it there. Oh my god, I will love it there. I would love it there. Is it expensive to live there then? Maybe if I suck off some YouTubers, I can make enough money on YouTube to move down there. Oh, that's some. Is this a coal or quarry or what is this? It looks like minerals. Or is it farming? With farming, you know, cranes and stuff like that. Or minerals. It could be minerals storage. It's getting a little bit fuzzy to look at it now. It happened once. It's okay, so it don't happen that often, and it's not that expensive. Yeah, I'm moving. Flower pot. Okay. So what about storms? Do you guys have a lot of tornadoes or tropical storms? Just like they have in Florida or stuff like that? I love looking at Google Maps where people live. This is definitely a mining area. What I am... Let's look at some pictures. Mostly depending on our currency, mostly depending on oil, but we also do manufacturing, so it could be manufacturing plants. What happens there? Thanks, Tinker. Thanks so much. And you hit the boss a little bit in the face there. We don't have tornadoes or hurricanes. Oh, awesome. How big is Trinidad? Thanks so much, Tinker, for the donation or super chat. That's what it's called. So it's like a really it's like a little paradise then, because I was like, if there's a lot of tropical storms and hurricanes and stuff like that, I would be like, yeah, maybe not. You know, because that's something you have to be aware of. But okay, yeah, okay, earthquake. But if it rarely happens, that's I can live with that. Man, it's a fucking paradise down there. What the fuck are we doing up here in the coldness of the Northern Europe? What about the internet? Do you guys have really good internet? That's the only requirement I have. I need good internet. I need good internet. And also, if there's a lot of crime, I don't want to deal with that fucking shit. I have a fucking truck dealer living on top of me or something like that. Oh my god, that's nothing. 2 hurricanes and 1 tropical storms. So you guys are like living in a sweet spot, I take it. Are you guys part of the old France Caribbean section? I forgot to read about that. Colonization, there you go. Venezuela. Port of Spain. We have the 7th highest crime rate. Why is it with tropical places there's always a lot of fucking crime? Like Brazil and Mexico and stuff like that. Is it because of drugs? Is it easy to what you call it, grow them there, manufacture them there? Because of the good weather? And I take it you speak Spanish there, okay, right? Prime Minister. Regions 14. We are Republic, so we are no longer a colony. Yeah, okay, but you have been part of that colony, right? The French colonies. We used to be a colony of Spain, there you go. Then France, then Britain. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so you speak Trinidadian, English. Oh my gosh, Arabic, Italian, France. So what is the most spoken language? You guys have quite a lot here. I guess it's Spanish, right? Oh, yeah, I get it. They don't want to rock the boat too much. English is the okay. Spanish is a Romance language of the Indo-European language family. Ooh. So TTD is your currency. Trinidad and Tobago dollar. Ooh. You have quite a broad spectrum of religion there also. And ethnic groups. Armenians. Ooh. Yeah, beside the crime rate, it actually looks like a cool place to live, man. But I am spoiled because Denmark is one of the most safest places to live in the world. Safest countries in the world 2022. So the top 10 safest countries in the world are Iceland, New Zealand, Portugal, Austria, Denmark, Canada, Singapore, Greece Republic, Japan, and Switzerland. I didn't know that New Zealand was that high up, and Portugal. Because Portugal have had quite a few problems. Yeah, here in 2014, Portugal was ranked 18th. They keep saying people in Denmark are happy, when we also medicated more than anyone else in the world. Maybe that has something to do with it. Corruption is rare in business or politics, and we are having some cases right now where corruption is being investigated in both places, so that's really funny to read that. This is something I can agree with. Like, this is also like the same in Sweden and Norway, in Scandinavia, that we do value honesty and truth way more than anything else. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I can't stand when people are bullshitting about Linux. Wait, did I say happiest? Here are the top 10 safe countries in the world. That makes no sense. Nigeria. Brazil. We now grown ourselves since like the 1960s. Ironically, our crime rates only increased dramatically in recent years. Like doing... Oh, really? We do also have free healthcare and one of the highest GPDs in the Caribbean. I have heard persons say Denmark is socialist. Hey, happy weekend, pizzas. No. I think... Let me put it this way. The way that our prime ministers are have talked about Denmark is that we are a welfare state. So what a welfare state is, roughly speaking, like really simplified, is that you take the good parts of socialism with the good parts of capitalism. Denmark is kind of like, you know, when I say the good parts, we don't always take the good parts of those, but that's the idea. We take the good parts of socialism and the good parts of capitalism and merge them together. Because Denmark is massively we have a lot of capitalism in Denmark, but we also have a lot of socialism in Denmark. Social aspects to it, but it's kind of like if you merge United States with no, that's not even a good idea because we are not. Russia is way too communist. It's hard to. I think that's the best way to explain it. That if you take the best parts of socialism and the best parts of capitalism and merge them together. So the government steps in, but it don't steps in too much. You know, you kind of have free reins when it comes to capitalism, but companies can't just go rampantly crazy and stuff. You know, there are check and balances in place. But I have heard and read articles saying that the only reason why that functions here in Denmark and Norway and Sweden is because we're not that many people. So think about it this way: there lives more people in the city of London than there live in the whole country of Denmark. So a lot of capitalist people and a lot of communist people and stuff like that, they say that the only way and reason why that system functions in Denmark is because we don't have so many inhabitants in Denmark. And Scandinavia in general. That we are not that many people, so therefore we can be a little bit more large with things, and socialism works a little bit better and capitalism works a little bit better. Where if you go to countries like the States, you know, United States, they have like fucking, what is it, like almost 400,000 or 400 million people living there, that will not work over there because there's just too many people living in one place. I don't know how true that is. It's just something some people are debating as a or using as a defense why, let's say, United States should not implement a welfare state, but should be a republic with capitalism as its forefront. And the same with Russia, why, or China, when we are talking, what is it now? Why can't I remember it? Communism. We have a population of 1.3 million. Okay, so you guys we have like 5.8 million people living in Denmark, I think it is. We also have free primary and secondary education here, and we used to have free third education. You guys are actually living a lot like in Denmark, it looks like. It looks like the same. I think it's the same here. We have almost free education everywhere here. Because you do have to pay for some books, and there are still things that cost money by taking an education in Denmark. But you can get student loans, but of course you have to pay them back. But like, you don't pay the teachers, you don't have to pay the school to go to school. It's like, it can be books and equipment that you have to pay for. In some instances, not all. Depending on what education you take. Oh, this is fucking beautiful. Like, think about this. Look at this. And then think about Windows versus Linux. Proprietary software versus open source software. Look at this and think about those things. I'd rather look at this. I'd rather be there right now than caring about those things, because they don't matter. But the policy was changed for... Oh, my alarm just went off. Twice it was reduced for everyone after, but now they are changing it and require some strict requirements in order to be eligible for government funding. So is that because the economy cannot sustain it? Because the reason why we can do that in Denmark is that we pay a lot in taxes. So, and this is why I laugh a little bit about people in the United States that like, oh, you pay so much in taxes and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but we don't have to go out and have a health insurance. We don't have to save up to take our education or stuff like that. Our way of saving up if we get sick or if we need, things from the state is that we're giving it to the state and they're sitting on the money, and then when we need it, we take it. So yeah, we may be paying a little bit extra for that convenient, but I know that I can always get help if I need something, like medical-wise and stuff like that. And we also pay for, like, our roads are like almost pristine all the fucking time. In a lot of instances, there are places where they need to be fixed, like our infrastructure just fucking works, Like, it just fucking works. But we do pay a premium for it. So what do you want? Again, convenience. Like, do you want to have outages all the fucking time and bad roads, and you have to save up if you get sick, or have like a fund, a saving account for when you get sick and stuff like that? So here's the only difference between how the states are doing it and how we are doing is that they are sitting on their money individually, and we are giving it to the state. So they may not have a need for the money, so they can use them, if they live a long, healthy life without getting sick or anything like that. Where here we are just like, hey, okay, I may not use the money I pay in tax for my sick leave or for medical bills, but use them to help the poor, use them to make the infrastructure better and stuff like that. So they are going to, they are not wasted, if that makes any sense. And that's why I don't really have a big of a problem paying that much taxes. I just wish I got more paid. You get what I'm saying here? I do wish that I had a higher salary, but I just like any other fucking Danish or Scandinavian person, I bitch and moan every time I look at my paycheck and the government is taking a big chunk of it. But I do get a lot of benefits from it. I really do. And if I don't benefit from it, I pay so my next door neighbor or the family down the road can have a roof over their head, and they can live, and they can have food on the table. And to some extent, I think that's also why we don't have a high crime rate, because we don't really have that many poor people. Because we are giving money to the state so they can take care of them. Where in the States, they're kind of left to their own devices in a lot of instances. And I'm willing to pay to a government if I can see that, oh, I may not be benefiting from it personally, but that person over there really have a fucking hard time. They are benefiting from it. So yeah, I may pay $200 or $100 too much a month in taxes that I never get back. But I'm helping out a fellow citizen. I'm helping out people that they need. So instead of going to donate to a soup kitchen and stuff like that, I'm just doing it via my taxes, if that makes any sense. So there's a lot of those things that's a reason why we have high taxes. That if I ever get to that point where I need those help, it's there. And I have paid for it through my life, and my fellow citizens have also paid for it. So we have a lot of safety nets here in Denmark, and I kind of like that. No, what is... have a good time, Bruce, by the way. What is the anti-Vogue Reddit drama? What is... I don't like I don't like Vogue people, and I don't like anti-Vogue people, because... Like with everything in life, it's all about what's happening in the middle. You can't be anti-Vogue and you can't be Vogue. There's a middle ground. Just like with proprietary software and open source, there has to be a middle ground. That's the whole world works in the gray areas and in the middle ground. Again, that's why I don't like fanboyism, extremism, and stuff like that, because you can't swing all the way to one side. Life, society happens in the middle. You know, we need to, and I'm not talking about the middle in a political way. I'm talking about you can't be either or. It can't be that. It can never be either or. That's what I'm talking about when I say the middle. Not like you are, political leaning in the middle. I'm talking about you can't be, it's either this or that. It's both. If you get what I'm saying. With moderations, of course. Oh, I really love this. This is a really nice wallpaper. I'm saving this. I'm saving this shit. Save image as. Save. Ooh. I'm getting some wallpapers here. Oh, that could also be a good wallpaper. Yeah, I like nature wallpapers. Wallpapers of forest and coastlines, beaches, and stuff like that. I fucking love that, man. But I also do like, cars and girls and all. Basically, a Reddit mod went to Fox News, got made fun of. They made a comment where they said laziness is a virtue. And it all went down from there. So people are lazy. Let me see if I understand that right. That it's a privilege to be lazy. Was that what Fox News said? That if you can be lazy, it's because you're privileged. Or there's nothing like... I can't fucking remember what virtue means right now. It's a word I don't use a lot. Because I hate the word. Behavior showing how more... Oh, yeah. So it's like the fact that you can be lazy means that you're better than anyone else. You're better still than anyone else. So that I can understand why people got mad about that. A moral excellence, a virtue, is a trait of quality that is deemed to be morally good, and thus is valued as a foundation of principle and good moral being. So they are better than any. So the Reddit mod said that they are better because they are lazy. Like they are better human being. They are more moral human being because they are lazy. That makes no sense whatsoever. Like there are mental reasons for people being lazy. Like there are mental disabilities that makes you lazy. There are family situations that could make you lazy because you're overtaxed, you know, and you're stressed out and stuff like that. That there are a lot of reasons why you can be lazy. Yeah, but well, if he said laziness is a virtue, then he says what is standing here. That laziness is being a moral excellence, is being a trait of quality that is deemed to be morally good. So it's good to be lazy. It's valued as a foundation and principle of a good moral to be lazy. So it's good to be lazy, basically. Therefore, also you're a better human, or you commodity, rather than saying that people are against work. Not because of being lazy, but rather they would want to work for a livable salary. So they want more pay. Is that how I should read that? I don't think I can play that video on YouTube or on here because YouTube will probably fucking yell at me for doing that. Because there's probably a lot of drama about it and misinformation according to YouTube and whatnot. YouTube is not the place to investigate things if you don't want your channel to be stroken down. So if laziness is a commodity, that means it has a value. Rather than saying that people are against work. So people are not lazy because they don't want to work, but they are lazy because they don't get paid enough. And therefore laziness is a commodity. Because they put they're putting a value on laziness. Again, we have to define laziness. Is it laziness to work? Is it laziness to take care of yourself? Where are we on that spectrum? Laziness is a spectrum, you know. It's not, because I know people that they work for almost no money, but they just can't take care of themselves when they get home. They just sit on their ass and eat chips all day and play PlayStation. Because they are massively lazy at home, but at work they work more than anyone else could imagine. So they are lazy at home, but not at work. But yeah, I have seen something about the anti-work culture that Reddit has something about, that a lot of people don't want to work anymore, and that makes me. I haven't read it. I've just seen some headlines for articles about the anti-work subreddit, and just the fact that there is a subreddit about not want to work makes me really fucking scared, man. Like, you have, if you can, and you have the mental capacity to do so, you need to pitch in. Like, nothing comes for free in this world unless you have a really good excuse why you should be having things for free. Again, that's why Linux is not free. You pay with your time. And now people get mad about that also. I love fucking angering people. I don't know why it's so funny. Maybe it's a character flaw of mine. It probably is. Like, nothing gives me more joy than to piss off fanboys and nerds. I don't know why. Because maybe it's because they to some extent are limited in the way that they look at the world, because they're so focused on the thing that they are a fan of that they can't seem to like they have found one tree in the forest. That's all they see, and therefore they think that's the only best tree in the whole fucking universe. And they can't see the millions of trees around them. And then when someone comes in and say, hey, this one over there is better, it's bigger, it's stronger, it's been here for a longer time, they get so fucking crazy about it. And then they do all kind of mental gymnastics to make their thing the best. Just look at Xbox versus PlayStation fanboys. It's a fucking joy to read. Then when the specs is not going in their favor, they go over to the political aspect of it. When that's not in their favor, they go over to the quality of the games. When that's not in their favor, they go over to the quality of the consumer. You know, that you just generally a bad person for supporting this console. Does that sound familiar to anyone, by the way? Just throwing it out there. Does it sound familiar to any of you guys? Oh, that's the Vivaldi game, which is not really that good of a game. But I even play a console. I can see why, because it is cheaper up front to get a console every 5 or so years. It actually is cheaper to game on console. But you don't get the same experience and the same fidelities as you do on a PC. But it's again, it's the convenient factor. You know, you just sit your ass down. You boot up your console. You plug it. It's plugged into the TV. You take a controller in your hand and you play the games. You may have to patch the game once in a while. That's the extent that you have to interact with the operating system or the software. On PC, we sometimes have to do some things, and we have to make sure our drivers is up to date, and we have to reboot a lot of times, and we may have to disable some antiviruses or some components or services to make the game run better. And there's a lot of added on hassles by playing on PC. Not to mention that we need to upgrade our graphic cards and CPU and RAM more. Well, at least the graphic card, we in theory should upgrade more often than on console to get the, you know, the best experience. I think it's like every second year I found out, or every third year is a good time to upgrade your graphic card. Mine is how old is my fucking graphic card? I haven't had money to buy a new graphic card for years. And I'm not good at saving up because there's so many other things I need in this life. Why is all of this shit in Danish? I think it's because I'm searching. Release date, there you go. Yeah. So 2016, I bought this like a year after it got released. Oh my god, this is an old card, man. Hey, it's 5 years old. I had it for 5 years at least. Yeah, 5 years. 4 to 5 years I had this graphic card. I really need a new graphic card. But like I said, I'm really bad at saving up, because then I need clothes, and I need this fucking shit, and then I need shit for my fucking YouTube, you know, mics and webcams and all of that fucking shit. Oh, yeah, CPU prices is fucking mental. Like, right before the CPU prices went up, I was saving up for a new graphic card, and I could actually buy one. And then they just went up like a fucking maniac, and I was like, you know what? I'm not buying any graphic cards. Either I find something that pays me more so I can buy it with these high prices, or give me money enough that I can save up, you know, spare money, or Yeah, or I'm not getting a new graphic card at all. Because I'd rather spend the money on other things. And here's the thing, for 1080p, I only have a 1080p screens. A 1060 is fucking good enough. I honestly, I'd rather have a 1440p screen than I want a new graphic card. I really want to go up to 2K screens. I don't. 4K is too much. If you have 4K screens in like a small monitor, like a 24-inch monitor, it's useless, almost useless. You need to, like, 2K you can have in like a 26-7-inch monitor, and if your monitor gets bigger than that, they get too big in my taste. Then it's a television you're looking at. So I found that 1440 in a 25 to 28 inch screen is what I'm looking for, and they are not that expensive anymore. I actually just need to buy one at some point. Oh, business class GPU, yeah. You don't need expensive craft. Like, this is where my Linux fanboyism comes in, because the way I am about gaming and the quality of the games that I play, or I want out of the games that I play, I get a little bit snobbish. You know, I won't say, I'm not satisfied with medium to low graphic settings. If I was, I could, like, a business graphic card or a low-end cheap graphic card would be way enough. I want high to ultra settings on my games. So I get a little bit snobbish in that area, but then I also have to pay a premium to get up there. And that's an area where I don't want to sacrifice. Just like some people don't want to use Windows because of, you know, telemetry and stuff like that. So they're willing to, or they don't want to sacrifice them being snooped at by an operating system. So they run Windows. And I'm like, I don't want to sacrifice my game quality. The virtual qualities. Or visual, qualities. So therefore I pay a premium for my graphic cards. I think when he say ATE cards, he means AMD cards, because they are called AMD cards nowadays. Oh yeah, I need to move these over here. But yeah, it's that's one area where I hate that they are so expensive, and even before they went up in price, graphic cards were still expensive. Like they before the drastic price increase because of cryptocurrency, they were still over expensive. Don't get me wrong, we paid way too much for graphic cards back then, before that anyway. But it's kind of like my hobby. I can't afford it. That's the thing, I can't afford it. Oh, they're coming out in September. Oh, I just can't afford it, man. I really can't afford it. Like, this graphic card probably costs the same as a pre-built high-end top of the line computer. You know, that's the thing. Like, graphic cards, and for the longest time, graphic cards has always been the most expensive part of a computer. So you could actually get your computer for the same price as you got your graphic card from. Yeah, you could be lucky, but you have to remember, here in Denmark we have a high sales tax on stuff, so that would have cost, let's say, $200 in Denmark, for example. But I'm an Nvidia guy. I am an Nvidia guy, and it's not because Well, the only reason why I am an Nvidia guy is that their drivers, or the way that they handle drivers, is just better than AMD is. It's the software aspect of it. I don't have to reboot my computer when I install an Nvidia driver. I don't know if you still have to do that under AMD, but 5 years ago when I had an AMD card, every time there was a graphic card driver update, I needed to boot my computer. I don't have to do that with Nvidia. I hate rebooting my computer. I honestly believe that in 2022, we should live in a world where we don't need to reboot our computers. If I had the know-how about operating systems and the experience, that would be one of the main goals I would be building an operating system up around. Never have to reboot. Restart services, maybe restart the kernel, but having to physically reboot your computer, I see that as every time I have to reboot a computer because of software updates or anything like that, I see that as a failure. Yeah, I used to be that. I used to be surprised by performance. But again, if you want good graphics, you have to pay a premium. It's how life is. At some point, like, the middle ground is nice, convenient. You can, you can live in the middle ground with graphics and stuff like that. You can live with like a computer that's 5-6 years old. You can live with a car that's 10-20 years old. But if you want to treat yourself a little bit, or you want a little bit nicer things, that's when price starts to be a fucking problem. Because then you're paying way more to get the nice things in life, to get nice things. And for me, gaming is a nice thing. I used to spend way more money than I want to admit on gaming. Way more money than I want to admit. I haven't bought a game in almost a year now. That's a lie. Christmas I bought New World, but before that it was like at least 6 or 8 months since I bought a new game. I used to spend hundreds of dollars a month on games, and I never played them. I never finished them. So I was like, I need to stop doing that, because I love to game. It's relaxing for me. It's my escape from reality. So if I found a game and it looked interesting, I bought it. I just bought it because it looked cool. And then I'm like, this is not fun or anything like that. Yeah, but I want, like, again, hey, I want the new games, I play Skyrim still. I just bought the anniversary edition. But I like to play newer games more than old games. Unless it's like a Skyrim. Why do you have a problem with rebooting or turning off your gear? I shut down everything when I go to bed. It's an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience. I have right now on my host system, I have 2 browsers open, and I'm not joking. I probably have 20 or 50 tabs in total open. I have Discord open, I have Spotify open right now, I have Epic Game Store, Steam. I have a lot of software open at one point. And it's rebooting everything and get back, it's not, the problem is not rebooting my OS, it's getting back to where I was before. Reopen Chrome with all of the tabs, reopen Vivaldi with the tabs I have there, open up Discord and all of those other softwares that I'm running in the background that I use all the time, and I need to have, or not need, but I have open because I use them all the time. Like, I don't boot up Discord to put a message in. I talk to people in DMs on Discord all day. That's the reason why I hate rebooting my computer. It's the inconvenience of getting everything back up to that. Mac OS, I don't know if Windows can do that, but Mac OS, you can make a script You probably can in Linux also, where you basically set in, okay, every time I boot, I need these programs. So kind of like auto start, but not like auto start for Windows, because auto start for Windows is fucked up. But you can set in, you can make a script that help automating that startup process for you. But that takes time. It takes time to boot up all those programs and get everything back to where it was. And that's why I hate rebooting. I don't mind rebooting my Linux systems here, because like you guys can see here, like at most I have probably like 5 or 6 tabs like this open on Linux. Or like these kind of things here. I don't have that much open when I'm in Linux. When I'm in Linux, because I don't have much going on, because when I'm in Linux because I need to do something. I either need to research something, I need to tinker with something, point intended for this one thing, or I need to code or learn something. So when I'm in Linux, I have a specific reason why I'm in Linux. Or for in this case here, I'm doing a live stream. So if I want to learn about a new software, code, research something, I have a specific use case why I'm in Linux, and probably also why I'm running the specific distribution I'm running at that time. Again, a really, really good reason to run Linux in virtual machines. So if it's arts related, I boot up arts and I mess around with arts in there. Or if it's OpenSUSE, I do it in there. I'm in planning phases of making a video about repositories in OpenSUSE. Well, then I open up OpenSUSE Tumbleweed and I mess around with Yast and Zipper or Cypher and reading a lot of papers, or not a lot, but what I need to read about those things under OpenSUSE. But that's really specific. Where Windows is I edit videos, I do work on them, I game on it, I consume on it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things going on Windows for me. You are checked in for... Yeah, I'm tracked. Yeah, I'm always online, man. And that's why I get anxieties if I can't go online, because all my video consumption, entertainment or virtual entertainment is online, and all my audio entertainment is online. So Spotify and these kind of things, podcasts and YouTube and Spotify, Viaplay, as I said, Spotify, Viaplay, Netflix, and all of those fucking things. I do have some YouTube videos that I had downloaded from YouTube in case I can't get online. But I don't have like series and DVDs and Blu-rays and all that, where I can sit and watch if I don't have access to the internet. If I don't have access to the internet, the only thing I can do is I can clean, I can go and work out, or I can go see real people. People in real life, or go up to my mom. There's no entertainment or anything like that. I can read a book, for example. That's what I can do. I can't even listen to music. That's a lie. I do have a downloaded playlist on Spotify on my phone, so I can listen to music. But yeah, it's that's how dependent I am on the internet. Would you rather play Quake 1 from 1996? I don't mind Quake 1. I actually like playing that. Yeah, go groom the fucking pussies, man. Yeah, or play my guitar. Of course, I could do that also. I'll probably switch from Windows 10 to OpenSUSE Leap, Ubuntu to Windows 11, and yeah, and again, that's why I love debating with people about operating system, because it fucking don't matter, and I know they get really defensive and angry about it. So I love poking them a lot, but I honestly don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. Honestly, I should make a video about nobody gives a fuck about operating systems, and especially Linux. Mac OS or Apple and Windows have changed the world so many times in the IT world and the IT industry. So many times the past 30 years. Linux have changed nothing. 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 It has not given us new paradigms. It has not given us new way of interacting or using our systems. The only thing Linux has done is giving us a more stable, secure, in quotes, desktop, a better server experience depending on what your servers are doing. Linux has just improved upon something that already was there. It hasn't changed anything. It has not been a paradigm shifting in any way, shape, or form. It's just giving us a alternative way, or a better way, or another way, depending on how you will look at it, to do certain things in the IT world. So Linux don't really matter if you're really fucking honest about it. Until Linux really changed, until Linux do something where everyone drops what they are doing right now and do that thing that Linux does. Until Linux do something like that, Linux don't matter. It really don't. Fuck it, like the way that we interact with our systems here, this paradigm here was set out, was the whole way that KDE works is paradigms set by Microsoft Windows 95. That has been an IT and a world standard for over 25 fucking years. That's a paradigm shift. What have Linux done? Like, honestly, what have it done? I love Linux to death, but it's just a fucking toy. It's a toy and it's a tool. That's all it fucking is. And for hobbyists, Linux is just a toy. For IT professionals, it's a tool. It's an alternative way. Like, it didn't even give us a great community. It really didn't. Linux didn't give us a great community. It really, really did not give us a great community. I have had the same joy and interaction with gamers, with preppers to some extent, because I talked to some of them, or have talked to some of them in the past, just for fun. Mechanics. I know it was a joke, but some people, honestly, Tinker, a lot of people think that what Linux gave society was the Linux community. I'm not joking here. They honestly think that the best thing about Linux and the thing Linux should be most proud of is the community. And there's so many other places that have better communities and do the exact same thing. Because a community is not about the software, again, it's about the people. And that's what people forget. It's not the software that changed the world. It's people that are changing the world. They can use software that's either open source or closed source and stuff like that, but in the end, it's people that are changing the world. Linux cannot change the world. Windows cannot change the world. Mac OS cannot change the world. It's the people that are using them that are changing the world. I do think people place too much emphasis on the OS and not the software itself. I don't think they do. Let me correct myself, because I think what you mean is that the hardcore fanboys do. Because they do. Like the Cosmic guy we had in here, he does. People in my comment section on my latest 2 videos does. They think that the answer to life's question is Linux and open source. And if you can't see how crazy that sounds. Because here's the thing. Bill Gates would have done the exact same bad practices that he did with Windows under Linux. He would just find other clever ways of doing it. He couldn't hide in the code. He would find other ways of bending you over and fisting you to high heaven and back. Software don't change people. Bad people would do bad things with the software and the license that they have available. No matter how open your source code is, it cannot protect you against those kind of people. It don't matter that you can see what they... Here's the thing. And that's the problem with Linux. You have to actually understand the code. And you have to have an intimate relationship and understanding of the code. Or else you don't really fucking know what's going on. I can make a script. Let's say 1,000-line script. And Tinker can make 1,000-line script. I make it in Python, he makes it in Perl, let's just say that. And we give it to Cosmic, or we give it to Bruce. They may understand a little bit of it, but they don't really understand most of it. If it's like a really, really integrated, complicated script. Yes, I can look at the source code of the Linux kernel, but I have no fucking idea what's going on in the Linux kernel. Just like 99% of people talking about how great open source is have no fucking idea what's going on in 90% of the software that is open source software. So that basically means, it means nothing that they can see the source code or not. Because they can't use that knowledge to anything. It can't benefit them, they can't use it for anything. Developers and coders probably, but the end user, no. It's like me giving you the schematics for your car. The wiring system, the repair guides and stuff like that. You may learn a little bit, but you can't reproduce that car. You can't build that car. You can't mold the molds to pressurize the metals into form the fucking engine block and stuff like that. You can't do that. Because you don't have the knowledge, the tools to do so. So yeah, until you understand the code that you're looking at, it don't matter. You can't find bugs, you can't find security exploits. So hey, Bill Gates could put telemetry into the fucking Windows kernel and open source it, and it will probably take 10 or 20 years before people realize it. Or can find that code that do it. They may see it on their network traffic, but finding the code that does it and how it's doing it, there are so many clever ways of doing that fucking shit. So yeah, it don't fucking matter, man. Linux gave me you. No, I don't know. I have this weird thing with people that I kind of think that people find each other anyway. Or they will find other, like, you know, other copies of those people. So had I not made this video, or this channel here, you would probably have found someone else like me and talked to them. You know, my personality twin, if you can say it like that. That's kind of what I mean, you know. Under gaming, I had a Tinker, I had a Bruce, I had a Jared, I had a Esnick, you know. Those personality traits, I had them in my gaming community. I tried to build up. The same in my personal life when I was out partying a lot and had a lot of friends. The same personalities was there, you know. They were just called different names. And we were talking about different things. So, you would probably just have found someone else. More than likely you would. I don't see a person being that special, to be honest. Like again, family members, partners, dogs and stuff like that, they are special, don't get me wrong, but my mom or my brother is not more unique or more important than Jared's mom and family. We are unique and one of a kind in the way we think, our life experience, our environments, and of course our DNA and stuff like that, but our personalities are not that unique. You will not find someone that's 100% like me, but you will probably find plenty that are close to it. And here's another thing that's worth thinking about. You will not miss me if you have never met me, if you get what I'm saying here. I will never miss an old girlfriend if I have never met her. I will never have missed or miss an old friend and the way they are if I have never met them. So I would probably have found or met a girlfriend that was close to what they are because I like those traits in people. And I would be missing her instead. So yes, we are unique in a lot of areas, but we are not that unique. Our personality, which is, in my opinion, the thing that attracts people the most to each other. And if you want to fuck them, their looks, of course, for a lot of people. But, you know, relationship-wise and friendship-wise, it's the personality. You know, how they are as a person. And I don't think that a person's personality is it's unique to you, but it also have a lot in common with a lot of other people. So the way I see things, the world is unique from with my experience. But there are plenty of people looking at it not the exact same way, but let's say 80% the same or 90% the same. So if you have never met me and you find someone that is 90% me, if you're using me as an example, I hate doing that, but let's just do it. You will not know the difference because you have never met me. And you will be just as happy with that person that is 90% like me. They may not talk the same, they may not, you know, use the same jokes or anything like that, but they kind of have the same personality, to, you know, 90% the same or 80% the same personality. I think that we are putting too much value in individual humans. I really do. I think we are really good, and we all do this. Again, it's part of our psyche. We all love to we all think I can't remember where the fuck I read this, but everyone think that they are that they are the superhero of their own story. We all go around and think that we are the superhero in this world, in our own story. In reality, 99% of us is average at best. Like 99% of us is the red shirts from Star Trek. We are the ones that get killed first in a confrontation. We're the one that just have one name on our name tag. We are the one that's like, hey, engineer, go over and fix that pipe. That's who 99% of us are in the world. And then there's the 1% that's Captain Spock and not Captain Spock, but Spock and, you know, Captain Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard and all of those people. In reality, we are just a nameless red shirt that's called Bob or Joe or engineer or scientist that goes over and hammer a pipe until it explodes. That's how 99% of us is. That's who we are in the world. But that don't make us feel special. It don't make us special. And people have a unique ability to want to be special. I want to be special. I do the best. I honestly do the best to try not want to be special. I really wish I was special. I wish I was an Elon Musk. I wish I was a Bill Gates. I wish I did something to win the Nobel Peace Prize, or I wish I was special, but I'm not. And I'm fighting every day to fight that urge to want to be special, because I think it can hinder you if you try to be special instead of just doing what you're good at, what you're interested in, and then if you become special, it should become naturally. Because if you force being special, it will never happen. Just like if you force relationships, they will never happen. I really struggle with the urge of, or trying to keep down the urge to be special and feel special. Because I am a nobody. You are a nobody. We are all nobodies. Chris Titus Tech is a nobody. PewDiePie is a nobody. They just happen to be more successful than me, but they are all nobodies. In 5-10 years, nobody would care about who they fucking are. Or let's say, what is it? 2 generations, or is it 4 generations, is how long you're remembered. Actors, you know, ordinary people are remembered for up to 2 to 4 generations. If you're an Elon Musk, you will probably be remembered for the rest of, or, well, longer. Maybe not the rest of time, but for a long period of time. Just like, you know, the first presidents of the United States, you know, and, you know, what I can't remember the physics. Newton, and people like that really makes an impact on society and life. They will never be forgotten. But at some point, we will all be forgotten. So why try to be something we are not? Most people look for like-minded people that are like them, and then looks and looks the same. Yeah, exactly, Bruce. I get what you're saying. But they will lack the total package. I have a unique serial number. Yeah, so I can get taxed. Yeah, I also have a unique serial number. Like, there are things that makes us unique, but uniqueness is not enough to make us special. Like, I can have a unique, let's say, sculpture. There's nothing like it in the world. What if it breaks? What if it's in my basement and nobody sees it? Does it really matter to the world? And if you want to be important, you have to matter to the world. As to tell... someone asked me about what books I read. I'm so sorry for I just remembered here. Yeah, what books do you... I don't read books, Jared. I really don't read books. I have books, but I don't read them. I have some music theory books. I have some development books, and some Python books, and C++ books, and stuff like that. The only thing I read is this here. I read online shit. I read manuals, white papers, studies, if I can find some that's interesting. And I watch a shit ton of educational content on YouTube and podcasts that's educational and stuff like that. I'm not a good reader. I have something called... I can't remember what it's called now. It's kind of like ADHD. Or ADD for your eyes. My eyes have a really hard time of relaxing. So when I'm reading a book, I get really, 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 really tired. I actually need special classes if I want to read for a long period of time. Because my eyes are always on high alert, basically. So that's why I don't read much, but I do listen to a lot of things. And watch a lot of things, because it's easy for my brain to interpret, basically. Because I have that eye problem. And a lot of people actually have that problem. It's not concentration, it's just that my eyes is like overstimulated, basically. Exactly, Tinker, exactly. You always die twice, for real, and the second time when those who knew you also dies. I just don't... I never found it... Like, when I was a kid... And I read manuals. I read car manuals, gun manuals, refrigerator manuals, or scientific books, lexicons, physics books, a little bit for psychology and philosophy. I read a little bit about that also. But that's what I like to read. If I want a fantasy, I just make it up in my head. Like, if I want a fantasy world, I have my head. If I'm out walking for 30 minutes, I just, like, oh, what would happen if this scenario happens? What if I was a knight in the medieval times? What would I do? Would I have a horse, or would I be walking? Who would I fight for? Would I be fighting evil? Would I be a crusader? Would I be trying to become a knight? What happens if I was a Viking? How would I live my life as a Viking? Would I be a carpenter, a fighter, a farmer? Would I have a wife and kids? Or would I be out on the boats all the time? And then I play those scenarios out in my head. I write my own fiction in my head, so to speak. Daydreaming is another word for it. And audiobooks, I rather listen to podcasts. I feel we live in a society where we are over-consuming junk content. And this stream is a junk content. We are over-consuming things that don't teach us or evolve us as a human and as a person. So I do and I'm really bad at it, but I do my best to listen to podcasts that are challenge my viewpoint of the world, that teach me something, or open my eyes out to new things in the real world, not fantasy, but in the real world. Or I watch videos or documentaries about things. You get what I'm saying here. This here, what we're doing right now, is junk content. Watching a Netflix series or a movie is junk content. It's fast food content. That's what I mean by junk content, by the way. It's fast food. It's comforting, it's easy digestible, it's really, really nice. But too much is not good for your brain, if you get what I'm saying. So I need to get back. I used to back in the day, like, was it last year? And then a couple of years ago, I used to, for 7-8 months, I had this rule that if I consume content, like YouTube videos, podcasts, and stuff like that, it had to be educational stuff until like 7 o'clock at night. So it was like, a psychology podcast. It was a scientific podcast. It was like Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman about physics, AIs, and stuff like that. And then after 7 o'clock, I could watch, a movie, a Netflix series, and stuff like that. Because I feel we don't use our brains enough nowadays. Yeah, exactly, Jared. But I do that with video and my own head. Yeah, take care, Tinker, and thanks again for the contribution or the super chats, or what the fuck they are called. Oh my god, got from Copenhagen to Herning. Oh my god, that's you've been around. Yeah, hey, enjoy your weekend, man. Enjoy your weekend. Yeah, we all need to escape, and different people escape in different ways. I just have a feeling that this is what I have experienced with people when they get old. The people that get old are people that don't take care of their brain. They don't learn things the older they get. They don't want to learn. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to expand. They get to a place where they're comfortable, and then they consume. Basically, they are eating junk food for their brain. And then the brain stops working. Or not working, but it gets lazy. And when the brain gets lazy, you get lazy. And when you get lazy, your health gets lazy. Like, I'm a fat motherfucker because I'm lazy. I don't go to the gym as much as I want to, or should do. And I eat too much because it's comforting for me to eat when I have anxiety attacks. I deal with anxieties by eating, a lot of instances. It's not a good idea, and I am working on making that, changing that. I am working hard on that, but it takes time. Like a really, really good example, my grandfather has always been an active guy. He's always been out doing, physical labor work. Then he got old, and he started to get dementia. And my grandmother sheltered him so much. Basically, he sat on his fat ass. Or he was not fat, but on his ass in a chair 24/7 for 2 or 3 years. And he declined like a motherfucker. When I was over visiting them, I was like, hey, let's go do some work. Let's go cut some wood. Let's go law the lawn. Every time I was over there, I activated him. I did something physical with him. I did something where he had to think. I did something he used to do in the past. And it was night and day after, like a week. He was a totally different person. He was more alert. He had less relapses with dementia. He just functioned better. But of course, he got so sick that my grandmother could not take care of him anymore. So he got into a nursing home. And I said to her, 6 months and this guy is dead. 5.5 months later, he was dead. Because he didn't get to do anything other than just sit in his room. I honestly believe that we are not built to be inactive. We are not built to not at least keep our brains active. And it's slowly killing us. Like, the biggest killer right now in the world is sedentary lifestyle, or sedentary, or whatever it's called. You know, there are so many people getting lifestyle sicknesses for sitting on their fucking ass, because you spend so much time in front of a computer or in cars and basically sitting down. And we are not built to be sitting down. We are built to be up and around and about. There was just I read what the fuck? I don't think I can find that anymore. It's not in my Instagram stories anymore. But there's a study, I think it was in California, that you do know, they say you have to be active 30 minutes each day. That's healthy for you. But if you sit down for more than 5 hours, that has annulled all activity that you have done. So let's say you work out 2 hours a day every day. If you sit still for more than 5 hours, it almost do nothing to your health that you have been active for 2 hours every day, like working out. That's really crazy to think about. And it's a neuroscientist that made that have talked to people about that study. He works a lot with PTSD and stuff like that. I can't fucking remember his name now. See if I can find it's not Lex Freeman. See if I can find it. See, responded to it. Yeah, here it is. Andrew D. Huberman, PhD, I think it's in neuroscience. During a health symposium at Stanford Med, I learned from a cardiologist colleague that even if we get our 180 minutes of zone 2 cardio per week, the benefits are largely or entirely erased by sitting more than 5 hours per day. Solution: standing 1-to-1 ratio with sitting, or 3 to 4 to 10 minutes walks per day. So you either have, so if you sit for an hour, you have to stand for an hour, and you have to go for at least 3 to 10 minutes walks per day to not get what is it called? To not be in the danger zone of sedentary lifestyle sicknesses or repercussions. And zone 2 cardio, I think that's just moderate working out, so walking in like a brisk tempo, or it's not running, it's jogging, I think you will call it. But if you do 1 hour standing, 1 hour sitting, and go for up to 10 minutes, minimum 3 minutes, and up to 10 minutes walks per day, you should be should be in the clear. Huberman Lab, I think, is his Twitter account. Let's see if I can. Lab. Twitter. This guy is a fucking brilliant dude, by the way. He's also quite jacked. He works out. See if I can find that tweet. Yeah, I probably can. It's a bit old. This is things I do when I'm bored. I read these kind of fucking things. What about his Instagram? Just so you guys can see that I'm not just making this up for you guys. Exercise, health, cardio, resistance, and walks. We should aim for at least 180 minutes of Zone 2 cardio per week for mental and physical health. Zone 2 cardio is exercise that you can sustain while speaking, so a brisk walk. But just barely. If you were to push any harder, you have difficult getting the words out. Some people use heart rate monitors, I do not. Doing some form of resistance exercise to maintain and or build muscle is valuable too, and will offset progressive muscle loss. So, this is actually really, really important. The older you get, the more you need to exercise your strength. Because there is a correlation between how strong you are, how big of a muscle mass you have, and how well lived you will live in your old age. So, if you really want to live long and healthy in general, and we're not taking sickness and stuff, let's say you have like cancer in the family and stuff like that. We're not taking that into account, but if you want a possibility to live a long and healthy life, it's actually really, really important that in your 20s and 30s you build up as much muscle as you can without taking steroids and all of that fucking shit, Because after 40, you start to lose muscle mass quite rapidly. So if you don't exercise, you have a lot of muscle mass to lose. You get what I'm saying? It's also, if you get health scares when you get older, you have more resistance to those because you have a higher muscle mass. And also, you should also work on your cardiovascular system, of course. While the intensity, volume, etc. Should vary according to one's specific goals. Recovery thresholds, etc. Getting 6 sets per week per muscle is important for maintenance of lean muscle tissue. Getting 6 sets per week. For maintenance. Cognitive tissue, strength, bone, health, etc. Again, if there is a lot of nuances to the RX, because if you train very hard or less hard, the numbers of sets you need will vary too. I suggest the YouTube and Instagram tutorials. Okay, it's great and highly kind of place to explore basic. Okay, so it's just giving you like how to exercise and stuff like that. So it's not enough that you go down to the gym and lift like weight, and you need to exert yourself, And then the more you push yourself, the less sets and repetitions you need. So if really, really heavy, you don't need to do as much as if you're just going down there with a fucking espresso in your hand and you're taking like a 1 pound and just standing there for like 10 hours. You need a lot of repetitions. It also depends on if you want to lose weight or keep lean muscle mass or build muscle and all of that fucking shit. But it is possible to build muscle up in your 40s and 50s also. It's just a little bit harder than in your 20s. If you really want to build muscle, you should do that in your teens and 20s, because that's where you have most testosterone in your body. And then after 35, it starts to decline, but you can still build it up. And I think after 50, maybe 50, 55, 60, it's more like a maintenance state you get into. You have what you have. You can't build on top of that, but then you need steroids and stuff like that. Then you go into like a basic, like, okay, this is what I have, so now I work out to maintain what I have. Maybe build a little bit of muscle. But not as much as you can in your 40s and 30s. This took a really, really weird dive. I don't know if you guys are even interested in all of this fucking health shit. Again, I'm a fat motherfucker. I know I'm doing a lot of things wrong. But there are some psychological reasons why I'm fat. And I'm trying to remedy those things. I just need to get off my fat ass and stop eating so much. But yeah, if you're interested in health, cognitive, body, cardiovascular health, neuroscience, this guy's an amazing fucking guy. And his podcasts are fucking amazing to listen to. He's talking about anything to be... From being strong, to be healthy, to be more cognitive better, think better, work smarter, like, uncluttered workspaces and stuff like that. Trauma he looks into, strength hormones and performances, so that would be steroids and stuff like that. Look, he's working a lot with special forces people to gauge what is it called, fight or flight responses and adrenaline and stuff like that, and how a really trained soldier reacts in a fight or flight scenario versus like a nerd like you and I. So you can learn a lot about the human body and the brain by talking to this guy here. Or not talking to him, listening to him. Increase your motivation. This is something I could use a little bit of here. I need to I need to subscribe to this dude. So I do take a lot of zinc, or not a lot, but I do take vitamin B6. And that actually reminds me, I didn't get my what you call it, my vitamin pills today. I have a vitamin D deficiency, so I take vitamins for vitamin D, and then a multivitamin with high doses of, you know, these kind of things here. That vitamin B, zinc, magnesium, there's a lot of minerals in them also. A lot of people forget about the minerals and only take vitamins. You need minerals also, especially the older you get. Sometimes I take magnesium before I sleep because it helps my muscles relax, so therefore I sleep better. Or at least it does for me. Don't work on all people, depends on how your body chemistry is already set up and stuff like that. Like, it depends on your food intake, and if you drink a lot of milk and stuff like that, you probably don't need magnesium. But some people with Alzheimer's, they do take it before they sleep because it helps them relax. They get less muscle spasms by taking magnesiums. So this is also stuff I like to nerd out about, the human body and health, which is way more important and way more satisfying than fucking Linux. And I have a feeling I'm just talking to myself right now. I just lost all the nerds. A nerd party where we talk about being healthy, that's probably not the best. I should probably also go and get some food. Do not show this information again. Let's close that down. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I will see you all. Maybe I should stream tomorrow, I don't know. I want to go to the gym tomorrow morning. And yeah, maybe Sunday. I do want to stream this week, and I really hope I can do that. So see you all later, thanks for stopping by, and go and be healthy.